Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Paleontologizing. I hope you can see us right now. We've been having some difficulties with the equipment. But let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. And
I'm Laurdee. I'm from Cooking with Laurdee. Usually I'm doing cooking content on Twitch, but today I'm touring the museum with my good friend Danny.
yeah, we have been on this great big road trip going all across the American West, visiting different museums, and it has been a ton of fun. I'm really excited to share this particular museum with you. We are here at the Natural History Museum of Utah in Salt Lake City, and this is honestly one of the most beautiful dinosaur museums in the country. They've got a lot of really cool specimens here, a lot of like actual fossils. We've got some holotypes on display, and it's going to be pretty neat. Yeah, some Jurassic fossils and a lot of Cretaceous stuff too. So I'm excited to show you. Yeah. Let me pull up chat on here real quick so that I can keep up with everybody. There we go. And hey there, Sunny Rian, Maui Girls, how are you doing? David Accounting, how are you? Great to see you. Welcome everybody. It's so good to have you here. So we are here in like the main atrium, like cafe area, but behind us is Salt Lake City out there. It's very hazy right now. There's an inversion layer over the whole valley, and I'm sure there's wildfire smoke and smog and agricultural exhaust and all kinds of other stuff just kind of fogging everything up. But yeah. Anyway, we just got into Salt Lake City this morning. Came in from Idaho Falls. Yeah, we had a great stream at the Museum of Idaho yesterday. Looking forward to doing that again today. Here at the Utah Museum of Natural History. So without further ado, should we go ahead and get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, let me shorten this just a little bit. There we go.
Everybody says the stream looks good.
Excellent. Hopefully our connection is okay here. We don't have any Wi-Fi in the museum. Let's go past this big wall first. And I kind of forget how to get to the dinosaur hall, but we'll find out. But this is really neat. Check this out. Just an awesome display with all these different artifacts and specimens from here in the museum. Everything from plant fossils to modern plant specimens, pottery fragments. We've got, is that a Gila monster in there? Very cool. A preserved Gila monster, or maybe a Mexican beaded lizard. Hard to tell. You're looking at it like that. The dinosaur trackway, big tridactyl, probably theropod footprint. Big sauropod. Dorsal vertebrae. Look at the size of those. Sauropod femur. Dinosaur ribs. All kinds of cool stuff. Really neat display. So what do you say we go ahead and take a look at a map real quick. We'll figure out where we want to go first. Of course, the main attraction here is the dinosaur hall. So that's
Mikey Likes cheered 100 bits.
Who did?
Mikey Likes.
Mikey Likes, thank you so much, Mikey Likes. I appreciate that. Support means a lot to us. All right. Let's see. Past Worlds, Canyon Community Room, Museum Cafe. We'll just wander around until we find it. Yeah. It's funny, I'm like...
I'll look around too.
Yeah, I'm used to coming into here from the back rooms because I've done collections visits at this museum before. I've done a lot of like behind the scenes stuff. Been here on 2 different visits for behind the scenes stuff. And I don't know if I've ever been here purely as a visitor. So I'm a little bit discombobulated right now. But I think... Let's see...
We've got Utah Futures, we've got Egypt. Maybe Life Terrace?
I don't think that's it. Let's see here.
Past Worlds or Past...
It might be Past Worlds. Do we have a brochure?
Yeah.
Could you just ask real quick? This building must have cost a fortune to build, but it's pretty impressive. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. We've got... What's that? It's past worlds? Okay, cool. Oh, here we've got a cool topo map of the state of Utah right here. Really neat. I love this kind of thing. This is exaggerated, of course. But we are right over there. Very cool. Right by the Great Salt Lake. Pretty cool. Salt Lake City. Right there. And we are just kind of in the foothills of the Wasatch Range, I believe it is. So yeah. So let's go ahead and find past worlds. Lordy's trying to figure out where we're going right now. So glad everybody's here. This is great. Museum of the Rockies had much better Wi-Fi. This is true, my airspace. Yeah. Yep, this is true. Hopefully the connection is okay right now. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
Past worlds? Yeah.
Canyon. Here's the museum store.
Cool. I think we just have to go right around the corner. Yeah. All right, ready to get to it? All right, let's go.
I think Wi-Fi was cutting out a little bit over in there.
The signal was?
Yeah, the signal.
Because we don't have Wi-Fi here.
Yeah,
that's the
true.
problem. All right, yeah, level 2, dinosaurs. We've got a really nice theropod maxilla right there. Who is that from? Probably Allosaurus. But I could also see that being a ceratosaur maxilla. Pretty cool. All right, here's where we're headed right now. Utah's fossil record tells a remarkably complete story. It really does, especially as regards dinosaurs. Sediments preserve traces of past life, a layer-by-layer chronicle of Utah's landscapes. Scientists have collected hundreds of thousands of remarkably well-preserved fossils from Utah rocks. Making new discoveries nearly every year, paleontologists refine our understanding of millions of years of evolution. Utah fossils represent a crossroads in the history of life on the land. They preserve the most continuous and varied record of dinosaurs anywhere, and the most comprehensive history of life in any comparably sized region on Earth. Pretty cool. I remember when we interviewed Rebecca Hunt Foster on this channel. She told us that indeed Utah does have more dinosaurs than Montana. I wasn't quite sure if that's true, but she says it is. I believe it now that I've spent a little bit more time in the state, and we're going to see some of that amazing dinosaurian abundance here in the museum today. Again, if you're looking for dinosaurs, Utah, this is the place. And they've got a viewing lab right over here. Very cool. Yeah. This is what we call a fishbowl in the biz. This is like a viewing lab where some of the fossil preparation takes place. Very cool. That Tyrannosaur right there. It's kind of like Teratophonius, maybe. I'm not sure what taxon that is. Like the big glass eye that they put there. Yeah.
Narcinan, thank you so much for the 12 months.
Thank you, Narcinan. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That keeps me going. It really does. That's support. Very cool. This is a very clean prep lab. I'm sure the majority of the actual prep work takes place in the next to the collection space. It's cool to have a viewing lab like this, where the public gets to kind of have a peek into how fossils are cleaned when they're brought back from the field. See right here, we've got, that almost looks like a plant fossil, petrified wood or something like that. It's been jacketed in a field jacket. And then that's one of the many things that happens in a prep lab like this, is that these jackets get removed, the fossils get cleaned and get ready to be either put on display or put into collections. So everything needs to be stabilized and consolidated, and yeah, it's a lot of work happens in prep labs like these. Fossil preparators are kind of the unsung heroes of vertebrate paleontology. And here is this brilliant fossil haul. Really excited to show you all of this. I see some theropods, I see a crocodilian, I see maybe a brontothere up there, some Pleistocene mammals over there. This is going to be cool.
Hey, White Smoke.
Hey, White Smoke, how you doing? But first, before we dive into the dinosaurs, I know we're all jonesing for some dinosaurs right now. Let's check out some fossil fishes. These are from the Green River. And, let's see. Green River fossils are really well known from Wyoming. There's also a town in Utah called Green River. I wonder if any of these are actually from Utah. But remarkably well-preserved fishes. I mean, everything from your classic, like, Nychia fossil fishes, like I think this little guy up here, to... Does anybody know what that is? That is a stingray, or maybe a skate. Very, very cool. And then there's a gar up there. You can tell by those really, really distinct ganoid scales. Gars, man. Yeah.
Just say Yotis? Is it Yotis?
I'm not sure, Dark Raven. Yeah. I'm not familiar enough with my Green River fishes. This looks like a paddlefish, though. These guys are super cool. I wish I could show you some video of paddlefish today feeding, but these guys are still around. Very, very cool. This is Crossophilis magnacaudatus from Lincoln County, Wyoming. So really neat, just beautiful. This is some of the best fossil fishes in the world. The most well-preserved, the most beautiful. Yeah, that's a gar up there, like an alligator gar. Yeah.
From Danny's early streams, if you...
Yeah, some of the very earliest streams.
The very early streams have a lot of gar scales in them.
Way back in May of 2020. Yeah, my first stream, I think we had some gar scales. Very, very cool. All right. And paddlefish feeding? Yeah. They do look crazy, right? Ants with Balint. I love your new name, Balint. That's great.
I totally didn't even see it was ants with Balint. I thought it was science. And I was like, oh yeah, science. Ants is so good, Balint.
That's excellent. Yeah, that is some top tier. Oh yeah, and look, here is a representation of what this Green River Formation fauna would look like in life. You've got the water, surface of the water up there. There is a gar, just like the one that we saw. Reminds me of like a giant needle-nosed gar. Looks less robust than an alligator gar. We've got a lovely crocodilian right here. And then, this almost looks like Eohippus, or...
It's an early horse.
It is? Yeah, very good, laurdee. Very good. Yeah, you can even see the multiple toes right there. Very cool. Crocodilian might be going for that. Very cool. Yeah, there's that paddlefish right there that you're talking about. We've got, it's probably a tri-naked turtle. Got a gar. All kinds of cool stuff. Wow. Really neat little corner display right here. I like that a lot. We're kind of jumping around in time a lot. This is the Eocene, about 50 million years ago. About 16 million years after the dinosaurs went extinct, except for birds. And here we're jumping into the Pleistocene. This is like less than 2 million years ago up until just a few thousand, maybe like 11,000 years ago. The Pleistocene. Some of your favorite giant charismatic Ice Age animals. Big proboscidean right here. This is either a Columbian mammoth or a woolly mammoth. Probably a Columbian mammoth. Different ungulate skulls up here. We've got bison, we've got bighorn sheep, all kinds of cool critters. Yeah. And then, of course, Smilodon. We just saw Smilodon yesterday, and Canis dirus. Well, the carnivore previously known as Canis dirus. It's recently been renamed. What is the new genus name for Canis dirus? I forget. For the dire wolf? Oh, yeah, pretty neat. Arctodus right there, short-faced bear. Yeah. Hey there.
I work in that lab over there.
You do?
If you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer them if I can.
That'd be fantastic, actually. Yeah, if you don't mind. Can we put you on camera, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
Just throw some things away. I'll be right with you.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. Wow, super cool. I don't know if you could hear her. Yeah, we should also ask if she'd prefer if we put our masks on, too. Because I'd be happy to do that, yeah. Cool, we get to talk with somebody who works in the prep lab there. All right, so she's going to be back in just a minute here. Yeah, awesome. That is the first time this has happened. Like, normally this sort of thing happens to me all the time when I'm maybe visiting a museum, especially if I'm, like, showing somebody around and talking.
Should I go over on Twitch?
We can if we want to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool. I'll give you a view of the lab again before she comes back. Wow, that looks like that's a crushed orbit. It's hard to make of that on the second shelf, like the second to highest shelf over there. Some big jackets in here. This is really cool, and I like how they put a few things in front just to kind of give the public something obvious to look at. This might be Teratophonius right here. Really cool. Hey there. Would it make you more comfortable with masks on? I know we're going to be like in close proximity.
Nah,
Okay.
It's my choice.
Fully vaccinated, so yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, I'm just curious, what are you guys filming?
So we're on Twitch right now. I do a bunch of science outreach content.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm actually a dinosaur paleontologist.
Hey, no way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So I've done a lot of work with Museum of the Rockies and Badlands Dinosaur Museum and stuff. So we're on this big road trip right now, going all across the American West, visiting different museums.
And live streaming.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been super cool. Yeah. So your name is Lydia?
Yes, my name is a student at the U of U. I do not
Cool.
study paleontology,
Uh-huh.
just like make that known, but I do volunteer working in here.
Super cool. In the viewing lab? Really neat.
Yeah, so in this lab, we actually just got that big water mammoth right there.
Oh. Good over it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go in there. I'm going to bring this rack closer so I can make sure your viewers can see it better and talk about it a little
That's
bit.
awome,
And
yeah.
I'm actually going to ask these folks
Dinosaur who saved us.
man and see if I can take it out. So,
That would be super awesome. Thank you so much. Wow, cool. You guys get special treatment today.
Fire Gal, how much for this? For 9 months.
Oh, awesome.
Fire Gal.
Thank you so much, Fire Gal. I really appreciate that. Oh. All right. They're conversing right now. Pretty cool. That must be like a rack of like touch specimens for the public to see or something like that.
Yeah, they're like, which is our favorite stuff to show off?
Cool. All right, so they might not wheel the mammoth jacket out there. It doesn't look like the top lifts off of the jacket, but I could definitely be wrong. Incision made in it, or lift off a hatch or something. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, and we tried the Wi-Fi here, and the encoder, the interface on it is really not well designed on the LiveView Solo, so I could not connect to the Wi-Fi. I could try again. Sometimes it is a hit or miss thing. But yeah, it does not want to connect at all. connection is crusty but nearly tolerable. Okay. It is better than nothing.
Okay, here they are.
Cool, they're loading up the cart with some stuff. Yeah, there's an Ankylosaur skull cast right there. It's a lot like the one that I have in my office. Pretty cool. If you want to wait for, I think they're going to be bringing some of the stuff. Oh, cool. Here it comes.
Come here. I know. Come here. Let me show you something. Special permission.
All right.
Out the cart.
Awesome. Super special.
So that's Anne. She's working on this Teratophonius right now.
I thought it was Teratophonius. All right.
Cool.
Awesome.
She's actually been working on this for over 1,200 hours.
Wow.
I don't have
It's looking
much
great.
time. I know. You guys. So first of all, this is some Gryphosaurus skin.
Yeah, I've worked on Gryphosaurus before up in Montana. Yeah.
They're beautiful. Actually, the Gryphosaurus there is real fossilized
Very nice.
material. The only things that aren't real are the skull and the pelvis because, you know, they're just too darn heavy.
Yeah.
What else? We got some teeth, which is really cool. If you get a
Tyrannosaur
close up, you can see that it's still serrated on this edge.
Very cool.
Very cool. Let me see. We also, so this is actually a new species.
Yeah, Ankylosaur. Very
Ankylosaur
cool.
Johnstone. Named after Anne's husband, Randy Johnson.
Really?
Yep, they are a husband and a team who work here a lot. Same with
Super cool.
Janine, her husband also works here. Both of them super sweet. And this was discovered, I believe it was actually mounted, the copy we have mounted was mounted in 2018.
Wow. Oh, so this is new to me. I've
Very,
not been
very
here since.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It was really funny because I just started volunteering there and we had a massive screened Jurassic Park on that wall.
Very nice.
Very fitting, right?
Super cool.
So we have this guy, the head, cast. We also have his tail, which is a cast as well.
Yeah, that tail club. Look at that.
And I do have that Randy Johnson didn't actually discover it, but he was the guy who got it out of the rock, so same amount of work.
Absolutely.
And then we have
Toe bones from a Tyrannosaur.
Tyrannosaur, yeah. Beautiful looking. Guys.
Check those out. Those are
I love doing this.
so cool.
And then what else we got? So a little bit about tools. So what these folks are using, the materials that are connected to the walls, those big tubes, those connect to what we call microjacks, which is this little guy. And I like to joke that this guy is what would happen if a jackhammer and a leaf blower got combined, right?
Yeah.
It shoots out pressurized air. Tiny jackhammer blowing away all the debris that you create. It's really cool. They come in various different tips. They can be the size of a needle and about this long, or they can be a lot thicker depending on your needs.
Super cool.
Also use lots of dental tools in there. I don't like them because of the sound.
It's not a pleasant sound, yeah.
No. And we also got screwdrivers, regular paintbrushes, and we have a whole drawer of toothbrushes, which is like super cool. But anyway, right now I am personally working on a Dystrophius.
Really?
Which I just learned is the oldest dinosaur species to have been discovered west of the Mississippi.
Interesting.
Which is so cool. And so the really cool thing about it is that there's actually a bit of I don't know if I would necessarily say not tension, but there's like it's kind of shrouded in mystery to see if it's actually belonging to more modern dinosaurs and it's just an older specimen, or I might be explaining this wrong, or if it was actually, you know, if it needs to belong to new clay. There's like some sort of mystery surrounding it. No matter how many times people
confusing with phylogeny and ontogeny and all of that. Yeah.
Seriously. So yeah. Anyway, we have awesome volunteers. Some of them are also working on some mammal specimen, which is really cool. We have some people who are working on a plesiosaur fin.
Oh, very neat.
I was working on a phytosaur. What else we got? Yeah, you could see barosaur or a sauropod vertebrae. We have a little sauropod right there.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
There's also difficult because it's in like iron oxide, which is super hard to get through with a microjack.
Seriously, yeah.
But it's also really cool because it has this very distinct reddish purplish and also some green because of the chemical makeup.
It's Triassic, so a lot of the stuff is kind of that weird color, like really oxygen-rich environment, like atmosphere probably.
Yeah, so
would oxidize the rocks.
Exactly, it just has this very vibrant color, which I think is really fantastic.
Really cool.
Anyway, if you guys have any quick questions for me before I have to
I know you said you don't have much time. Just wondering, like, shop a little bit here. Do you guys use like Vinac or Bootvar, or what's your consolidant of choice? The like glue that you paint onto the fossils that you.
Paraloid and acetone.
Oh, interesting.
That's one of the big things we use right here. So so right in this yellow container, that's where we keep all our glues. We have different concentrations of paraloid and acetone. I have to say this as well. I am 18.
That's super awesome. Yeah.
That's when you can start to work with the power tools. Everybody in here has been here for like what, 20 years. They're all super wonderful, more than kind to working with them.
Is this actually the main prep lab for the museum?
We do have two. We have this one, which is like
usually there's the viewing lab, and then there's the really dirty one downstairs where like all of the hardcore stuff happens. Yeah.
That one is like right behind our collections upstairs.
That's what I figured.
Really cool.
I saw it. I visited collections a few times in the past, so.
Yeah, we do normally have an event where people can come in and see it, but unfortunately, due to COVID, that has been like a whole deal. But anyway, yes, I do want to also point out we do have a little failure is not an option. So this sign is new as well. So we love these sorts of jokes, and that skeleton right there is actually a birthday prank.
Oh, really?
That was played on our manager for the lab, which is really pretty much the basics.
Super cool.
Those are the containers where we keep our microjacks, brushes, all that stuff. And back in those filing cabinets are where we keep our actual specimens. I think you'll like this. Yeah. We also have a sandbox, right back there.
For gluing specimens and making cradles and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we use it for. We just put a sandbag and we just let gravity do the work of holding it.
I use a lot of sandbags too, yeah. Is this dust collection up here?
I believe so.
That's
I'm not
beautiful.
Sure.
Wow.
No, we have like a massive one in the lab upstairs. It's super cool looking.
This is so well equipped. I'm really impressed. Like I've worked in a lot of prep labs before, and like none of them look. I don't know. Just this is like top of the line equipment. This is really cool.
The lab is super cool. It's very, very well equipped. We actually, I don't think you can see it. We also have. This is actually hooked up to a microscope. The TV's not turned on.
Oh, okay, yeah,
if someone's working and knows how to work the microscope, they can actually turn it on up here.
Really cool.
Which is super cool.
Wow.
But anyway, I hope I was able to like.
Yeah, seriously, thank you so much for the time. Yeah.
Got 98 viewers saying hello and thank you.
Oh, yes.
So you're a big superstar now.
I'm a superstar. Wow. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Good luck. I love Science Outreach. I hope you guys have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lydia.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow. Really cool. How lucky are we? That was pretty awesome. And man, they've got an awesome lab in there. It was so cool to talk to somebody who is just getting started in there. She's super excited. She's going to do great things.
Do you have a card?
I do, but I don't know if she has time.
I think she's gone. That's fine.
Okay, yeah. But yeah. Wow, pretty cool. I've not been looking at chat for a while now. But, yeah.
General love for Lydia.
Yeah. And I'm like almost all out of shirts, too. The volunteers at the Dino Shindig took almost all of my shirts. They were very. So let's continue on. We are going back in time here through, this is what? Eocene or Oligocene? This looks like a Doug Henderson painting. It's very atmospheric. Big focus on the plants. Looks like a Brontothere or maybe a Uintathere walking through. Very cool. And I guess we're going to go back into the Mesozoic now, the age of dinosaurs. There's a Tyrannosaurus skull. Oh, it looks familiar. I think we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and go on up here. Wow. This is one of the star dinosaurs on display here in Utah. This is Lithrinax. This, I think, remains the earliest tyrannosaurid, either in the world or in North America. But yeah, pretty cool.
Pontius Pirate just gave me 5 gift subs.
Thank you, Pontius Pirate. I really appreciate that. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you very, very much. Check this out. This is Lithrinax. So the name Lithrinax means Gore King, which I think is an appropriate name. This is an animal. Here's a reconstruction of what it would look like in life. And there is the Wits, right there, the Western Interior Sea. About a lot on this channel. Back when there was a shallow sea that covered the middle of the continent, kind of subdivided North America into 2 subcontinents, Laramidia to the west and Appalachia to the east. And Lithrinax, of course, is from Laramidia. I remember back in, I think it was like 2013, 2014, when this descriptive paper was first published, introduced Lithrinax to the world. But we discussed this at the Dead Lizard Society meeting at Montana State. And Denver Fowler was kind of like riffing on the name, and on Laramidia too. He said it sounded like like a drug commercial. Be like, has Laramidia got you feeling isolated? Ask your paleontologist if Lithrinax is right for you. Pretty cool. So it's got some pretty derived, like, Tyrannosaur characteristics, even pretty early on. This is an animal that's older than Tyrannosaurus. It's older than Daspletosaurus or Albertosaurus or Gorgosaurus. Those other tyrannosaurs that are well known from North America. But it's got a very, like, Tyrannosaurus-type skull.
Let's protect ourselves.
Pretty short from front to back. It's very, very wide. Its eyes would have been able to see, like, directly in front of it. It had full binocular vision, which I hope you can see right there. And it's got that really, really deep posterior part of its dennary. And the syringular back there. Again, these are derived characteristics that you see in later tyrannosaurs, like Tyrannosaurus. So, this is a dinosaur that kind of complicated the picture for Tyrannosaurus. You know, for a while, people thought that, well, I don't know, there's an ongoing controversy as to whether or not Tyrannosaurus evolved from an Asian tyrannosaur like Tarbosaurus that walked across the land bridge, whether it evolved from tyrannosaurs that were already in North America before that happened. And whether there was, like, just one crossing of dinosaurs from Asia to North America and back, or whether there were 2 or more, we're still kind of figuring all that stuff out. But this is one of these animals that you've got to consider when it comes to this sort of thing. And check out that life reconstruction of the head right there. Yeah, so those, we know that some dinosaurs may have had quills, like the Psittacosaurus that I was showing you. Those may or may not be related to feathers. I think they probably are. They're probably homologous to feathers, so they're like the same thing, just, you know, they evolved to be a little bit different. Yeah. We don't really know whether these guys, big tyrannosaurs like this, had any kind of feathery coating. That's kind of I guess that's kind of a conservative way of doing it. It's like, let's just give them some quills, and we'll leave it at that. But if you look at this one right here, look real close, and in this lovely painting, there is some kind of fuzzy feathering over the top of its body.
Let's protect
It's mostly scales.
If they're removed, American
I totally buy that. I think these guys probably had some kind of feathery coating. But we don't know yet for sure, and that's kind of exciting. There's a lot of discoveries still yet to be made. So, yeah. That's pretty neat.
Interesting. Dark Raven says, I think I've seen conversation on Twitter arguing for T-Rex's American origin.
Yeah, there was. It's kind of an older idea that Tyrannosaurus evolved from Displetosaurus, which is from the Campanian of North America, from like the Judith River and the Dinosaur Park Formation. I don't know. I think the general consensus is moving toward an Asian origin for Tyrannosaurus, but again, it's still a matter of debate. You know, talk to Thomas Carr about this, and he thinks that Tyrannosaurus migrated over from Asia. He doesn't think Displetosaurus was the ancestor of T-Rex, but I don't know. That's the cool thing about science, is that eventually we're going to find out. Somebody's going to be right and somebody's going to be wrong, and, you know, being wrong is not a bad thing, because it means that you've learned something new and the science has progressed, you know? So yeah. And this is a model of what we actually have from Lithrinax's skull. So not the whole thing, but we've got a decent maxilla on one side. Doesn't look like we've got nasals, but most of the skull is there, including the orbits, which is important for trying to figure out if this animal had depth perception like we were talking about. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, if you ask me. And I like this. Utah's Gore King. Again, the name Lithrinax means Gore King. The dinosaur sheds light on the origins of T-Rex? Possibly. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Alright, and let's take a look at some of these. Very nice. Now, we saw that big Tyrannosaur skull over there in the viewing lab. That's this animal, Teratophonius. Teratophonius currii. It's named after Phil Currie from Canada. Yeah, removed to research. I kind of love seeing that. Shows you that this is a place where study is actually, you know, there's science going on. Not everything's up here just for display. And these are all original fossils here, which is super cool. We've got, looks like an ornithomimosaur hand. Those big claws like that. We've got, looks like an ornithomimosaur leg here. Yeah. I don't think these guys have been described yet from southern Utah. These are probably from the Kyparowits or from the Waweep. And check that out. That is super cool. This looks Ankylosaur right here. Let me check the label. Tail and club, yeah, Ankylosaurid. Look at those long bony tendons in there. Just incredible. Yeah. Again, this is getting toward the end of the tail. The club would be there on the end. I think that might be the remnants of the club there. Really, really neat. Basically, it's really, I'd like to think of it more as a hammer than a club, because you get this stiff handle to it before you get to the actual like heavy club part. That stiff handle is made from all of those bony tendons that would stiffen the tail. So the base of the tail is flexible, but when you get to the actual, like, you know, the business end, right before that, it's all stiff like a big sledgehammer. And this looks like a hadrosaur jaw. Or, no, ceratopsian jaw. Yeah, look at that beak. Got that beautiful predentary bone right there. And then, yeah, the choroid process. Beautiful. And that is ceratopsian back there, too. That must be... Looks like Chasmosaurian. That's probably Utah ceratops back there. We'll go take a look. Oh yeah, and all this stuff is Kyparowits. Very cool. So like, yeah, from a little bit more than halfway through the late Cretaceous, I think. About 79 to, about 79 million years old, something like that. Check that out. The sign says 76 million years old. I was close. Big old turtle shell right there. Check that out. And then look at this lovely crocodilian. That is gorgeous. I love the way that it's been mounted. Parts of it are still there in the matrix. We've got all those beautiful scutes. This is what we call an articulated skeleton, when everything is there, kind of all in one piece. Very cool. And a lot of this stuff, it seems like it is still left to be named, which is really cool. There is like new science to be done on this. Check this out. Gripposaurus right here? Look at the size of this Gripposaurus. That is enormous.
At the time of the dinosaur, this was a subtropical
Wow.
delta.
This duck-billed dinosaur right here.
And with the monster-
Just huge. Let me give you a sense of scale right now. The skull is like bigger than I am. This is from a duck-billed dinosaur. These guys aren't known for being giants. This guy is enormous. Look at that giant nares right there. Big old nostril. It's been said before these guys may have had like a big inflatable sack around their nose that would like puff up and make noise. We don't really know yet.
Justino, thank you so much for the subscription. Just wanted, it's a 7-month streak, really big deal. Thank you
Justino,
so much.
thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, Gripposaurus. I've dug up some Gripposaurus in Montana. We had a big bone bed of them up near Rudyard, Montana. That Dr. Liz Friedman Fowler, that was kind of her baby. Check that out. This, I think, is the parietal bar of Utah ceratops. I've actually come to this museum before and like photographed this specimen. We like Andy Irmis helped us like open up this case so that we can get some photos of it without glare. It was pretty cool. I'm taking some photos for Denver Fowler for his doctoral work. And then check out all these cool little guys. Really cool. We've got some crocodilian scutes. Got some very beautiful little theropod elements there. That looks like a dromaeosaur right there, actually. Like Velociraptor or Deinonychus. Baby dinosaur. Who is this? It's probably a juvenile hadrosaur. Very cute. Very cute. And then we've got Gripposaurus here under the floor. Really neat. Really, really neat. Just gives you a sense for how big this animal is. Look at that. That's just a scapula right there. Just the shoulder blade. Enormous. Got a humerus. Some hip bones right there. Ischium, pubis. Beautiful. Look at that vertebral column there. Long neural spines. With great difficulty, apparently. We can look at the sign on the wall. It says, "We discovered this nearly complete dinosaur fossil at the end of a 3-mile hike. It wasn't easy to move it. We sawed and chiseled the sandstone. We hauled the plaster and water on our backs. We carefully wrapped every specimen, and it took a helicopter to move the biggest bones. It was worth all the effort. This Gripposaurus' features we rarely get to study. Its tail and parts of the spine fit together as they did in life, with lots of scaly skin intact." So those skin samples, like the pebbly dinosaur skin that Lydia brought out of the lab for us to see, that must be from this specimen, I think, which is super, super cool. Yeah, I love this. It's so cool to be able to walk over it like this.
This is a really cool exhibit.
Isn't this neat?
It was really cool.
I like this a lot. And I love that over here, we've got a whole diorama trying to make you imagine all of this stuff as it would be at the time. I've got a whole fauna here. We've got some primitive broadleaf trees. What kind of flower is this? Do you recognize this, Laurdee?
Magnolia.
It is a magnolia. You know, I've talked a lot about magnolias and how they date back to the age of dinosaurs. Here we go. Super cool.
There's cycads and ferns.
Yeah, got a big old crocodilian right there. Some eggs there. That looks like a varanid lizard. Or something similar. Looks like a big lizard. Crocodilian's making some noise. Yeah. What did you say these were, Laurdee?
Cycads.
They are indeed cycads, yeah. It looks a lot like the one that I have back home. That Ios is currently taking care of as I'm gone. Hopefully she remembers to water them. Are you watching, Ios? Okay, she's in a meeting. Ios, you take care of my cycads, please. They've been around for a very long time. A lovely, like, boa-type snake right there. Reminds me of a modern boa. And who's this? Look at the shadow from my hand right there. It's one of our ancestors, possibly. A little mammal. What are you doing out in the daytime, mammal?
Dark Raven says the crocodilian reminds me a little bit of Brachychampsa.
It might be related to that might even be Brachychampsa, yeah. We get Brachychampsa in the Hell Creek. I don't know if it's been recorded from the Waweep or the... What's this formation again? But yeah. Now this, in the background, is cool. This is like... It looks like a forest in Florida. This is just a photograph back here to kind of complete this diorama. I wish they'd hired an artist to actually do this because there's some stuff in it that's not right. We've got some species of trees that did not exist in the Mesozoic. And what is that back there, that ground covering? Talked a lot about how there wasn't during the Mesozoic. It's so difficult to find a good place to photograph in the modern world to represent a Mesozoic ecosystem because there's grass everywhere. Case in point there. It's subtle, but the grass is there. This stuff is tough. It's tough to do, even in a beautiful, really well-funded museum like this. You know, it's tough to escape that kind of thing.
Type of grass, not horsetails?
No, that's grass in there, yeah. I know, right? And then, awesome, we've got this troodontid dinosaur. He's feeding on a dead Utah ceratops, looks like. Very feathery. This color scheme is actually based off Anchiornis, which is a little birdie dinosaur from the Cretaceous of China? I think, yeah, from the early Cretaceous of China. Maybe latest Jurassic. But that dinosaur had a red mohawk on its head. We can actually tell the feathers are that well preserved that, the pigments are there in the actual fossil. So that's cool. Real fossil specimen. Pretty neat.
Haraz says, I'm wondering how we can be so sure that there was no grass. Seems so basic biology.
Yeah, so for one thing, there's no body fossils of grass, so we've got fossils of lots of other kinds of plants from the Mesozoic. No grass fossils. But a better way to check is to look at pollen grains in the rock record. And I think grass pollen grains just start to show up at the end of the Cretaceous. But we still don't have grass body fossils. So maybe there were some grasses, but they still would have been rare. And yeah, they definitely weren't dominant in the way that they are today. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, let's go ahead and continue on this way. Look at that.
Duck-billed dinosaur?
Yeah, this is Gripposaurus right here. This is enormous. I've forgotten how big these guys can get. Just absolutely huge. Look at that.
So these are real fossils because they are held
these are the real bones.
brackets.
So, as the gal from the lab was telling us, it's just, I think the hips and the skull are cast. They're cast from the real thing. We probably saw the real skull over there just a few minutes ago. But that skull right there is a cast. It would be too big and too heavy to mount on here safely. But check that out. Just beautiful. Look at how robust these foot bones are. I mean, proboscideans eat your heart out. You know, those are like just elephantine, or even more thick than that. That is crazy. These guys are so cool. Man. When you talk about really big dinosaurs, usually hadrosaurs, the duck-billed dinosaurs, are not at the top of your list. But this probably was the biggest dinosaur in its environment. I don't think they had sauropods in this fauna. So this is probably the biggest dinosaur around at this time and place. And man, is it big. Look at that. Very cool. Very, very cool. And again, remember we were talking about how to tell the difference between a cast dinosaur skeleton and like the actual genuine bones on display? Look at this. If you look closely, you can see all of these bits of metal armature. They're kind of holding these elements in place. This is the most complicated, most expensive, most time-consuming part of mounting a dinosaur skeleton, is like designing it and then like tweaking it and getting it so it holds all the bones securely in place like that. It is tremendously expensive to do that. So anytime that you see real dinosaur bones on display in a mounted skeleton like this, and you have a chance to talk to anybody who works at the museum or is in charge of things, say like, hey, I really appreciate that as a member of the public, being able to see real dinosaur fossils on display, because it's not easy. It's not easy to make this kind of thing for you. So I hope you all appreciate it. Really, really cool. Like each rib has its own custom welded, custom shaped support on it. Just incredible. If anybody in here is interested in welding or anything like that, that is potentially one way to get into the world of, dinosaurs. It's metalworking. Yeah. Kind of an unconventional avenue into the science, but, we are in serious need of metal workers to do this kind of thing. Yeah. Very cool. Check this out. Ceratopsian dinosaurs here. Utah ceratops up there, looks like. And who is this guy? Is this like a young Cosmoceratops? I forget. Juvenile Utah ceratops. There we go. Yeah, very cool. And you can tell this is a cast because it doesn't have those metal supports. All of the metal supports are just running straight through the cast bones. Really neat. Look at those epis along the sides. We talked about epis, these like little pointy triangular bones on the frill of Triceratops. Here you have it on Utah ceratops. And just like in Triceratops, they start off really pointy, like that, and like kind of barely fused onto the frill. And later on in the adult, they flatten out and they just kind of morph onto the sides of the frill like that. It was super cool. Really, really neat. And yeah, Javasaurus, exactly, yeah. Well, but fenestration does seem to happen through ontogeny even in these guys. I think we have, I want to say we've got some hatchling protoceratopsids that like their fenestrae are much smaller than the adults. So we know that's something that happens through ontogeny to a certain extent. Yeah. And there is full-size Utah ceratops right there, or close to it. Very cool. Look at how wide those hips are, too. The space between the ischia right there. This is why, for a long time, since ceratopsian eggs had not been found, some paleontologists speculated maybe these guys gave birth to live young. We don't think so anymore, since that publication from last summer. Oh, yeah. You having fun, Laurdee?
I'm having a great time.
You are?
Yeah,
Good.
these are really, really amazing.
Isn't this really cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see how smooth the tail is. All of those are sculpted along there. Except for maybe a few of those chevrons. I guess they didn't have the tail. There might be like some pathologies or something going on with the femur right there. Or maybe that's diagenetic. But pretty cool. We've got so many cool things to look at in this hall. And of course, we gotta talk about Falcarius. This dinosaur is hugely important. Does anybody know which group this belongs to? Falcarius? It is hugely important. I didn't really recognize until recently, how many specimens we had of this animal. It's kind of amazing. Falcarius right here. And there's, of course, Nothronicus behind it. That should give you a hint. And And yeah, you're exactly right. Dark Raven, Claire, Ragondar. Yes, they are therizinosaurs.
Claire has a question about the ceratopsians.
Yeah?
Are you more happy with the ceratopsian poses than you were with Yoshi?
Oh, with these? Yes, definitely. These are much more...
Like tiptoe dancing.
Yeah, they're not tiptoe dancing. They don't have their backs arched quite as much as Yoshi's Trike. Like, these are quality mounts right here. Yeah. This feels like a real animal moving about its environment. And look at the hands. The hands are actually mounted correctly. Like, Fujiwara had a good publication about this. I think I have that name right. Yeah, where basically you've got like 4 toes contacting the ground, and the 5th one is just like a little splint coming off of the end. Like that. Yeah, and there's just a little bit of sprawliness to them. This is a group of dinosaurs that, was only recently transitioned to quadrupedality. You go back as far as like the early Cretaceous, or even like the mid-Cretaceous, and you've got like psittacosaurs and stuff still walking around on 2 legs, maybe. These guys are pretty new still to walking on 4 legs in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, back to Falcarius over here.
I'm still just a little bit confused. Just one more time. Drilled means that it's a cast?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't want to put holes in a real fossil. Yeah.
And so brackets mean that it's...
Exactly, yeah. So you see here, there's no like metal supports here. This is a cast. Like, these are exact replicas of the real thing, but you look at the Gryposaurus over there. It's got that beautiful metal framework built around it to hold the real fossil bones in place. These precious, precious elements. Yeah. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah.
Let's look at Falcarius right here. So, this was a super important dinosaur for a lot of different reasons, and it will continue to be a super important dinosaur as more stuff is published on it. But Falcarius, it's been described as kind of a missing link between like carnivorous theropod dinosaurs and therizinosaurs. So therizinosaurs, the derived ones look like this. This is Nothronicus, or Nothronicus, depending on who you ask. Tomato, potato. This is your classic big derived therizinosaur. So it's got this big barrel-shaped rib cage like that. Look at how wide that rib cage is. And look at those hips. Look at the way the ilia flare out to the sides like that. And then there's just like all of this space there in the gut. This is an animal that ate plants. It needs all of that extra gut space to help ferment all this vegetative matter that it would be taking in. Plants are more difficult to digest than meat. You need more space in your gut to digest plants. These guys, they've got the space for it. And that long neck like that is probably used to reach up into the treetops in order to get the tenderest leaves or what have you. And these arms probably served a number of different functions. It's got really, really long arms. And look at the size of those claws.
Fewer than 40 full-time
Just
dinosaur
awesome.
paleontologists.
Those are probably used for reaching up into the trees and like pulling down branches, maybe kind of scraping their way through the forest. I don't know, something. It's something to do with herbivory. Like it may be similar to like what giant ground sloths would use their massive arms for, and their massive claws. These guys are kind of like giant ground sloths before there were giant ground sloths. I guess giant ground sloths are kind of therizinosaur-like in a way. But these guys evolved from like fast-moving, predatory theropod dinosaurs. That's why Falcarius, this guy right here, is so important. This is a really primitive therizinosaur. And so this is kind of a transitional form between, fast-moving predatory theropods and something that would be much more slow-moving and herbivorous. Maybe these guys were omnivorous. They've got these little teeth in there that would be maybe useful for processing meat as well as plants. But they're probably on their way to being like full-time herbivores. And their skeleton kind of reflects that. They're kind of in between. It's really cool whenever we see something like this in Dinosaur Evolution.
Random Bug UK just gave us 5 good subs.
Random Bug UK, thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Being so educational.
We try. That's what I'm here. I'm here to try and show you around. I know a lot of people are still stuck inside right now. A lot of people don't have the wherewithal to visit museums. I hope that, this is fun for you to watch. I hope you learned something, and I hope maybe it inspires you to go out and visit this museum someday, or visit whatever natural history museum you have in your area. It's important. This is food for the soul, you know? Yeah. This is really cool. Look at that, North. So both these guys are from Utah. And hey, Laurdee, what do you think that little bone is there between the shoulder blades and the coracoids? The one right in the center of the
Is it
chest.
the wishbone?
That is the wishbone,
wishbone?
yeah. That's
Yeah.
the furcula right there. That little very shallow V right there is the furcula. So we saw the furcula on Pex Rex
have a moment
back at Museum of the
It was
Rockies.
kind of heartbreaking.
Now we've seen it on Nothronicus and on Falcarius right there. Very cool. Very, very cool.
Jet Speed DG with 2 months.
Thank you, Jetspeed DG. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
That means your Triceratops is just hatched, right? Your sub badge in chat. Super cool. Thank you for your ongoing support.
We might have missed one from We Wrote a Movie.
Oh, really?
Tropical says we did, so.
Thank you, Tropical, and
Yes,
thank
and
you,
thank you,
Avatar, for that gift sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Avatar. Super cool.
The support helps us stay on the road. It helps us make these streams. It helps us get into the museums.
Exactly.
Support us, support Danny so he can go full time. All that stuff, all those good feelings. Thanks, you guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, Cedar Mountain Formation. Very cool. And some early Cretaceous stuff. Pretty neat. A peek into the beginning of the Cretaceous. Utah has so many different age rocks from the age of dinosaurs here. Like Rebecca Hunt Foster was telling us in her interview, Utah has everything from the latest Cretaceous, like all the way back into the Triassic. It's got all 3 periods within the Mesozoic. And there's hardly any place else on Earth that has that, which is really cool. We've got like kind of a neat... This is like those sample platters from the Museum of the Rockies stream. We've got these here too. All kinds of different elements from different animals here. We've got, almost reminds me of Tenontosaurus up there. Who was that? Yeah. Is that Hippodraco? Oh, super cool. Yeah, early kind of iguanodont. We've got some kind of ankylosaur there. Is that Gastonia? Let's see. Yeah, Gastonia skull. So this is one of the dinosaurs that was a contemporary of Utahraptor. I think Utahraptor is from the Cedar Mountain Formation. And sure enough, there we go. There's a Utahraptor foot right there. This is still the biggest dromaeosaur that we have, to my knowledge. Look at how robust those bones are compared to like Velociraptor or Deinonychus. To give you a sense of scale. That is huge. Look at the size of that claw. That's got to be a good, I don't know, like 8 inches long. Pretty impressive. That hypertrophied digit 2 claw. We now know that we've got better fossils of Utahraptor. It was a pretty big, stocky animal. As dromaeosaurs size up, it doesn't seem like they retain the same proportions. They kind of get stockier. A lot of animals are like that. The bigger you get, the more massive you are. It's like the cube square law or something like that. But yeah, the bigger you are, the thicker your limbs have to be, and all of that. You can't be quite as svelte as you used to be. Case in point, the Therizinosaurs back there are actually a pretty good example. Yeah. Anyway, really neat. And this is a neat display.
Just so you have a sense, we've been
Yeah.
going for like an hour and 15.
Been going on forever?
We close at 5.
Close at 5. Okay, we're at 3 o'clock right now.
Yeah, so you have a sense of...
This is the main area that I want to be in, like just this hall for... We could explore a few other things, but I think we're making good time.
Okay, good.
I think we're about a third of the way through.
Let you know where we're at.
Thank you. Yeah, check this out right here. It says this small mammal was a big surprise.
If we had
Complete mammal skulls from the Mesozoic era are rare. That is an understatement. Holy cow. Mesozoic mammals are super tiny, and they're very well studied for what they are, but they are not common. Usually paleontologists only discover isolated teeth. Research revealed this skull is from a new species that belonged to a group of ancient mammals called Haramyida, because most Haramyid fossils date to the Triassic and Jurassic. Finding these fossils in Utah's younger Cretaceous rocks was unexpected. Very cool, and that is the actual fossil skull right there. Yeah.
KJ gave us 100 bits. Great to see a transitional animal.
Hey, awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, KJ. Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. And Dark Raven, that is a good quote. It's a dromaeosaur that tried to be a tyrannosaur. Yeah. Very cool. Oh, and apparently this mammal has been named Cypheliodon wakarmusich. Wakarmusich. What a great name. Pretty neat. That's actually pretty big for a Mesozoic mammal. Yeah. Man, I would not want to be a mammal during the Mesozoic. Pretty cool. Alright, let's move on. Let's go see some other stuff. There's plenty more to explore. We're going back in time now. Into the Jurassic, briefly. We're going to see some Morrison dinosaurs. Like these guys. Check that out up there. It's a skeleton of Barosaurus. Big diplodocid sauropod. Wow. Pretty cool. And here we go. We've got... This is pretty neat. This is a very dynamic display. We've got a group of Allosaurus here. We've got an adult right there, and a bunch of these juveniles. And they are trying to subdue this Barosaurus. It's kind of falling to its knees there.
There's like one on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think, Laurdee?
This is incredible.
Isn't this awesome? Really impressive. This is really, really cool. So I think this is meant to represent the Cleveland Lloyd Quarry. We'll have to look at some of the signage, but I think I remember that correctly. The Cleveland Lloyd Quarry is a really, really special place here in Utah. I think it was actually made a national monument, Jurassic National Monument, just like a year or two ago. Which is kind of surprising, given we know about the previous administration here in the U.S. But yeah, a really, really special place where you just have this huge assemblage of dinosaurs, all in the same spot, all their bones all mixed up, like at Dinosaur National Monument. But unlike at Dinosaur National Monument, there's something really weird going on with the paleoecology. There is this superabundance of predatory dinosaurs, especially Allosaurus. Normally in an environment, well, I don't know, Laurdee, what do you think? Would you find more herbivores or more meat eaters in a given environment? Take a guess.
Herbivores.
And why do you think that is?
Because there's more plant matter than because of the energy pyramid.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You've got it exactly. Yeah, yeah. And so, like, why would we find a whole bunch of Allosaurus all in the same spot and only a few, like, herbivorous dinosaurs? I think they've got, like, 3 Stegosaurus and 4 Camptosaurus and a few others. A couple of a couple of sauropods, and it's just like Allosaurus City. Why would we have so many Allosaurs all in the same spot? I think those displays over there talk about it a little bit, but I can leave you to guess in the chat right now too, if you'd like to take a guess.
Tar pits on mud traps?
That is one hypothesis. Yes. Oh, this is really neat. Here, check this out, Laurdee.
Oh, I did see this. This looks fun.
You can assemble the different.
It's a nice puzzle.
Skull bones. Isn't that really cool?
This is a really cool exhibit.
That's awesome.
I love interactive exhibits. I think they're so much fun for children and for everybody.
Seriously, yeah. I feel like we should put a few pieces in here just to make it more interesting for whoever walks by next. But yeah, pretty cool. And I like how they've actually broken up some of the bones a little bit so that the dennary isn't all in one piece, just kind of divided it up by sections. Just so you've got a few more pieces to assemble. This is really cool. I love this. I might steal this idea for a future museum.
So did they travel for mating, like turtles?
Oh, that is an interesting idea. There was an egg found in the Cleveland Lloyd Quarry, which for a while I think was the oldest dinosaur egg found in North America. Maybe in the world. Yeah, check out these juvenile Allosaurus. So cool. They're so lightly built. beautiful. Look at that. I love those lacrimal crests. You see how they look different on the juveniles than on the adults? I don't think we actually have, in fact, I would, if I were asked to make a sculpt for this, I would make the lacrimal crest look even a little bit different from that, because I don't think we have a good juvenile Allosaurus skull like that. I could be wrong. But yeah, pretty neat. Look at this right here. This is so cool. So, Laurdee, this is basically how these bones were found. This is like a representation of their position in 3D in the ground. All these pieces were all mixed up. From like giant sauropod femurs. I think it's a Camarasaurus femur right there. That might be a Barosaurus femur there. We've got big ilium, maybe from a big Allosaurus. Allosaurus jawbones. There's a stegosaur plate right here. Just all jumbled up like that. But we've got way too many theropod pieces. Like, what is with all of these theropod pieces here? Normally these guys are so much more rare.
Bones down, because one sauropod can feed a family of carnivores for a week.
Maybe. The thing is, it's actually, I hope this isn't disappointing. It's not like a big reveal, like, oh yeah, it's this answer. It's still contested. We still don't really know. There's like a video display over there that talks about it. Here's a quarry map for the Cleveland-Lloyd dinosaur quarry. So, right here, Allosaurus is this green color. Look at all of the green on here. It is mostly green. That is astonishing. Camarasaurus, I think, is the second most common dinosaur in here, at least by
A real mean kid.
quick visual survey.
With 6-inch daggers for teeth, he was the terror of his neighborhood.
Got Stegosaurus, Barosaurus, Ceratosaurus, Camptosaurus, Stoxosaurus, and Marshallsaurus. Both of these two dinosaurs, I think, were first found in this quarry, which is a big deal. We didn't know about them before this. And there's even rumors of Ornitholestes from this quarry, too. I think as yet unconfirmed. But, yeah, an incredible place, Cleveland. If you ever get the chance to visit, I highly recommend it. We're not going to have a chance to visit it, I don't think, on our trip. But yeah, it's south of us right now. Yeah, south and east, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think
Yeah. But on this back wall, hey, check this out. They've got a big blown up version of the quarry map. Just look at that. And it probably is, you see how there's kind of like negative space in between where there's not many modes that are on there? That's probably just spots where they haven't done much digging. I bet you this is just all a big pavement up here, just of bone. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Dark Raven says that it was suggested that it was a death trap.
Yeah.
But the sediment's too thin to trap big dinosaurs like Allosaurus.
Possibly, yeah.
And they think that now it's suggested that they were deposited there by flash floods.
Yeah, it is still a matter of contention, as we'll see in those video displays up there. But yeah, look at that. It's so odd that you see a sauropod on its knees, basically,
25 feet long, weighing 4 tons.
in a skeletal mount like
versatile
this.
sort of chap.
Just, you never
He
see
won a
this.
lot of
This is
arguments
really
in
unique
his
to
time, but very few
Isn't that
beauty
awesome?
contests.
Paleo
Very,
Dog
very
Virtual
cool.
Hug Paleo Dog.
6 months.
Thank you, Apocalypse. Thank you very much for your ongoing support. That's half a year right there. Thank you. Yeah. And Latina Geek, hey, welcome to Paleontologizing. Is it your first time here? I'm glad you could join us. Here, let's take a look at this. We've got this whole wall of different skulls of different dinosaurs from the Cleveland-Lloyd quarry. We've got Allosaurus down there. And we've got, is that Torvosaurus there? 35. Wait, Marshallsaurus? I thought Marshallsaurus was much smaller than that. Huh. There we go. Well, Marshallsaurus right there. And then Marshallsaurus, I think, might be like an early Tyrannosaur relative before they got really big. That one's pretty big, though. And here's Ceratosaurus. Even if you've never heard this dinosaur's name before, you've seen it in pop culture. It's got this nasal horn right there, or crest, if you like. Projection off of the nasal bones. This is kind of the three-horned carnivorous dinosaur. It's got those lacrimal horns too. Really cool. This is really big for a ceratosaurus. I'm not used to them being this big.
Apocalypse gifted this to Latina Geek.
Thank you, Apocalypse. I really appreciate that. Enjoy that, Latina Geek. And that must be Stokesosaurus right there, 33. Oh no, it's Taenicolagrius. Okay. Cool. We'll see some of those tomorrow at the Museum of Ancient Life. Taenicolagrius. See a whole skeleton, several of them. And that. Does anybody know who this is? It's not Allosaurus. This is a big old megalosaur from the Morrison Formation. Not Megalosaurus. Somebody else.
Dinosaurs has a theory as well. You want to just read.
You think Martiasaurus was placed in Megalosaurus? That would be interesting, Dark Raven. Yeah. And there you go, Javasaurus. That is one of the hypotheses that is laid out for the Cleveland Lloyd Quarry. Yeah. Again, we still don't know exactly what's going on, but some paleontologists are convinced that it is basically the scenario that you laid out, like the dried up watering hole idea during like a really, really pronounced drought. Yeah. This guy up here is Fossilosaurus. Dark Raven, you are right. It is Torvosaurus. Yeah. I don't think we have a full Torvosaurus skull yet, so I think a lot of this might be speculative. A lot of that looks sculpted, but really cool. And you guys know this big sauropod here. I've got one of these in my office at about half the size. Yeah. You recognize that one?
I couldn't tell you the name.
It's Camarasaurus. Yeah. Beautiful. And then this is probably Barosaurus here. Doesn't quite look like Diplodocus. And then Stegosaurus. Very cool. And then, is that Camptosaurus, number 26? It is indeed, Camptosaurus.
Which species is it?
And look, it's starting to get
For Barosaurus, I'm not sure. In fact, I'm not even necessarily convinced that those are all distinct species. I think Barosaurus might be a little oversplit. But yeah.
Are we going to go to the Dinosaur Museum in Vernon?
We are, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Fieldhouse Museum and Dinosaur National Monument.
We'll be there, Bob.
That's the plan, yeah. And hey, Bob Wattage, welcome back. I feel like it's been a while. How are you doing? Oh, this is super cool. We've got a growth series of Allosaurus femurs. Check this out, Lordy. These look real. They've got specimen numbers on them.
Is Brachiosaurus a specific species or Brachiosaurus a group or both?
They used to be a group, but Brachiosaurus is a genus of dinosaur, yeah. Brachiosaurus bronchi, Brachiosaurus altus. And we used to have one from Africa too, but that has been renamed Giraffatitan. But Brachiosaurus is its own dinosaur, yeah. It's really rare in the Morrison, it seems. We don't have a lot of them. So yeah, but this is really interesting. Lordy, just like you're saying, there's a lot of Allosaurs with not many herbivores to eat.
I'm going to grab a quick drink of water.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, she's gonna go get some water. But check that out. This really neat size series, from small down to pretty big for Allosaurus. This is why mostly teenage Allosaurs. Bones show more Allosaurus young than adults at the quarry. The smallest one was 3 feet long, the biggest 35 feet, the most were 20 footers. Because there are fossils from more than one age group, scientists can learn a lot about how Allosaurus grew. We call this ontogeny. But we don't yet know why there's so many young Allosaurus here. Very interesting. That would be consistent with miring, potentially. It could also just be like, higher mortality in younger individuals. It's something that's kind of consistent across a lot of animal groups. Anyway, we're going to go look at this video real quick.
We go through layers in time, sort of like a layer cake, to see what the rocks tell us.
Looking at the fossils within here, the little snails, charophytes, little green algae.
Jim Kirkland,
you can see that there was
state paleontologist of Utah.
We
have a very large array of perfect bones to very distinct bones and a large array of size classes. Why are all these bones here? How did the bones actually get to the quarry site?
Were they stuck here or were they killed here?
Bones of sauropods, giant plant eaters.
This is cool.
Buried at the quarry. But many more bones belong to Allosaurus, fearsome meat eaters. Teeth sharp, claws pointed. A lot of predators were here. Who killed the killers? Everyone has some idea.
I believe that drought was the origin of the Cleveland Lloyd dinosaur quarry. Just like in Africa today, I think that we had dinosaurs coming together around a drying up water hole. Then once all the water was gone, the Allosaurus ate the herbivorous dinosaurs that were there and eventually started eating themselves.
Or each other, rather.
We ended up with 70 dinosaurs dead, buried in the site when the floods came back the next year.
Pretty interesting. It's one hypothesis.
The Cleveland Lloyd was a predator trap. The dinosaurs came here to drink, got stuck in the mud. The herbivores came in first, then the carnivores came to prey on the herbivores.
Lucy Fate. Very
And
funny.
they all got stuck, and they all died here.
After looking at all of the evidence, the best scenario is actually a float and bloat scenario. I don't think the animals died. As they decomposed, gases started to build up inside their bodies. They became light enough to float like balloons. These balloons of dead dinosaurs floated down the stream to the quarry site.
This is so well done.
I don't go with any of these theories. I don't think it explains what we see here. The scenario I tend to like right now is poisoning. You have a shallow body of water, you drop a sauropod or a stegosaur, a couple of these carcasses in them, you start getting bacteria, the decomposition of these things. You get bacteria going and you get botulism. But predators are still eating on these things and very quickly die of toxic poisoning.
You've heard a lot of ideas on what might have happened here. What do you think killed the dinosaurs at Cleveland?
Vote, we're stuck in the mud.
Vote for poison.
Vote for drought. Vote for bloat and float.
Oh, cool. And let's look at what the results say.
Here we are at Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry.
So far, poison.
Got over 10,000 bones.
Seems like it's winning.
Seems like some kind of crime was committed here. There's death and destruction. We don't know what happened. We don't know why it happened. We know where it happened. Here at Cleveland Lloyd.
We know who it happened to.
The Cleveland Lloyd quarry is an enigma. So to discover what might have happened, we go through like a layer cake to see what the rocks tell us.
Looking at the fossils within here, the little snails, charophytes, green algae.
Pretty cool.
You can see
So,
that it was definitely wet.
I don't know. After watching that, everybody in chat, what do you think? Let's see. Maybe on a Friday RS. Maybe.
Were they stuck here?
Gotta go with Jim says Rodan. I don't know. My first instinct is to go with Jim too. But yeah. Hey, Lordy, get some good water.
I did.
All right, nice. But yeah. We were just looking at this really cool display back here. We're talking about possible, hypotheses explaining the Cleveland Lloyd assemblage. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue on. I'm gonna walk past.
Everyone has
Bloat and
some
float.
idea.
Drought was the origin.
If any, the Walking with Dinosaurs special from the BBC, Allosaurus, the Ballad of Big Al, they actually show Cleveland Lloyd there. And there they have it be a predator trap, kind of like the La Brea tar pits. Yeah. Or the pits at La Brea, I should say. It's funny, La Brea is Spanish for the tar. So the La Brea tar pits is a little redundant. It's like saying ATM machine, but people still say it. Man, I love this right here. Check it. See that tail coming up there, Laurdee? Come on, watch. Follow it up. This one up here. No, this one right here. Down there. Look at how long it is. Who does that tail belong to?
This guy?
That's the Barosaurus tail. Isn't that cool?
That's really cool.
I love that. Yeah, yeah. You just walked over a dinosaur tail.
So cool.
Pretty neat. And now the tail is up above us too. But really cool. Take a look at this Barosaurus. Just look how big it is. And again, huh? I know, those hips look incredible, right? This is the center of gravity of the animal. Our casts? It depends what they're made out of. If you make them out of like resin, they can be they're lighter than if you make them out of plaster. Plaster can be very heavy. Plaster's the cheapest, usually the heaviest, and the most brittle, the least durable. These might be plaster. Yeah. You can also make them out of like expanding foam and stuff, but that gets a lot trickier in order to get the right level of detail. Nowadays, you can actually rapid prototype dinosaur skeletons out of foam. That's how they made the big Patagotitan mount for AMNH. Basically like a giant. Oh, hey there! How you doing? Doing well. We were just admiring the giant Barosaurus here. This is amazing. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It took me forever to notice this, but its tail actually.
Yeah. We were just remarking on that. Yeah. Super long whip-like tail. Really awesome.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm glad I was able to run into you guys, but there's someone else who actually does tours here.
Really?
With, I think, Airbnb, and his name is Spencer.
Uh-huh.
I went on one of his tours recently,
Uh-huh.
and they are just fantastic. He was telling me that found that Allosaurus will actually take its upper jaw and use it kind of like a hammer to like...
That's been published on, yeah.
Yeah.
Like almost like a hatchet. They could open their lower jaw really, really far, like 90 degrees or maybe even close to 180 degrees, which is nuts. Most dinosaurs couldn't do that. So.
Yeah. I actually never knew that. I thought, it was a classic what we see in the movies, like,
Yeah.
I think that is like our Marchosaur.
That is super cool, yeah. Wait, is this Marchosaurus right here?
Yeah, Marchosaurus.
Yeah, I always thought Marchosaurus was so much smaller than this. I can't remember if it's Marchosaurus or Stokesaurus. That might be the early Tyrannosaur relative. It's probably Stokesaurus. But yeah, really cool. And Marchosaurus, I think, was first discovered in the Cleveland Lloyd Quarry. I think that was like the first place that it was ever found. It might still be the only place it's ever been found.
I didn't know that. I thought.
But yeah.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. I know it was the whole Bone Wars situation with Marsh.
Yeah, it's named after Marsh.
Yeah, it's named after Marsh, obviously. Yeah.
I think it was named in like the 60s or 70s or something like that, Marchosaurus. But yeah.
And I gotta point out number 7, which is one of my favorite ceratopsians.
Diabloceratops, yeah.
Yeah.
I came here it must have been like 2015, I think autumn of 2015, to photograph that specimen for a friend of mine. He was thinking of including it in his doctoral thesis. But really cool. Diabloceratops is really awesome. Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah, thank you again so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Always gonna talk to paleo people.
Thanks. Here, let's go back down to Barosaurus real quick. And we'll take a closer look at this adult Allosaurus, too. Look at that. So, there is our adult Allosaurus. Really awesome. Look at how long that tail is, too. These guys I feel like they have proportionally longer tails than Tyrannosaurs. And you know what? There might be a reason for that. I'm just realizing this right now. Here, Laurdee, take a look at Allosaurus here. How is this different from T-Rex?
Longer arms.
What'd you say?
Longer arms. Longer tail,
which might necessitate a longer tail, yeah. We've talked a lot on this channel about how Tyrannosaurs, their super short, stubby arms are an adaptation. These are animals that have to balance on 2 legs like this. This is their center of gravity right there. This is like the center of the seesaw. And if you have more weight on the front, like if you have big muscular arms like this, like on Allosaurus, you have to have a longer tail that's more dense in order to, or more heavy, in order to help balance that out. So if you want to become lighter weight overall, if you want to become faster, one way of doing that is just reducing the weight on your front end. You can either reduce the weight in your neck or your head, or in your arms. Tyrannosaurs seem to have gone down that route. But yeah, it's amazing. Look at the size of those arms on Allosaurus. How robust they are. I forget about this sometimes. How robust they are.
Neural Net wants to know, how did they decide how they were spaced?
Oh, that's a great question. Like the amount of kind of like cartilage to put in between the vertebrae, or like the intervertebral discs. A lot of that is speculative. Like I've seen really bad dinosaur mounts where they put way too much space in there. Like they're basically lengthening their dinosaur by like 20% by putting too much space in between each of the vertebrae. This is a pretty standard sort of distance here, though. I mean, you kind of look at how the vertebral centra are shaped, and then you just kind of go from there. But it is a speculative thing. I mean, like, there's a little bit of guesswork involved. We don't necessarily have super strong evidence for how much space there should be between vertebrae. Yeah. Check out this Ceratosaurus right here.
Is that the one in the front?
The one in the back.
The one I was going to ask who that was, because this is Allosaurus, right? Another Allosaurus?
This is actually Martiasaurus.
No, Martiasaurus.
Yeah. Which is, I guess, a megalosaur. Its skull looks very megalosaury. Look at that. And then, who's the one on the ground? Who's she?
Stegosaurus.
Yeah. Poor Stegosaurus.
I can tell by the cute little head.
Yeah.
Oh, and the plates.
And the plates. Yeah, the plates are not as visible from this angle.
First,
but yeah. But yeah. I've long wondered, like, what is going on in the Morrison with all of these big theropod dinosaurs. You've got so many distinct kinds. You've got Allosaurus, you've got Ceratosaurus, you've got Torvosaurus, now we've got Martiasaurus. Is this niche differentiation? Are they all like doing a different job? Are they feeding on different prey? Are they living in slightly different habitats? Like, are some of them living on the floodplains? Some of them are up in the hills. Some of them are, in the forests. I don't know. Think about in modern-day Africa. You've got a bunch of different big cat species. You've got leopards, you've got cheetahs, you've got lions. And they all kind of do something different, They've got a different lifestyle, they've got different habitats. I wonder if Morrison big theropods like that are kind of the same way. Allosaurus is by far the most common, not just at Cleveland Lloyd, but throughout the Morrison Formation. Ceratosaurus is a little more rare. Torvosaurus seems rarer still, and then Martiasaurus too. Yeah. I wonder if even these guys might be oversplit, though. Do we have enough material of Martiasaurus to know that it's not just a juvenile Torvosaurus? I've never thought about that before. You could tell I don't know much about Morrison dinosaurs. I've never worked on these guys before, but it'd be an interesting synonymy to demonstrate there. Is Martiasaurus just a juvenile Torvosaurus? Yeah. Yeah. And what do you say? We almost missed our little Archaeopteryx there. Look, hanging up from the ceiling there.
Oh, goodness. I don't know if the camera will be able to see it.
Yeah, we might not be able to really spot it. Look up there. Again, even if you can't see it very well, just let this be an illustration of how slight early birds were. But that is Archaeopteryx. I like how it's just hanging from a piece of sisal twine.
So, Archaeopteryx is a flying dinosaur.
It was
because there were no flying
It was an early bird,
It was an early bird.
Yeah.
But not a pterosaur.
Not a pterosaur, no.
So
no.
a theropod.
It was a theropod. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because all birds are theropods. Archaeopteryx is the earliest bird that we have.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's super famous. I've got that 3D printed one in my office. Yeah. Yeah, man, check out. I just can't get enough of this Ceratosaurus here. This is so cool. Yeah, and Trek Nerd says, Archaeopteryx, the early bird, did it get the worm?
Oh my god, that's funny.
Every time. No, I used to have a T-shirt design with that on it. I should bring that back, huh? It had a picture of an Archaeopteryx, and it says, the early bird gets the worm. I had to bring that back, yeah. Yeah, check out Ceratosaurus here. I love those osteoderms around the neural spines along the tops of the vertebrae there. That is so cool. These guys are often reconstructed with like little armor plates, just little ones, like little pebbly ones, all over their backs. And they probably had that. A lot of Ceratosaurs seem to have some kind of pebbly osteoderm type thing going on. Look at that. The Ceratosaurus is big, long teeth. Pretty big teeth compared to its skull size. Bigger than Allosaurus. And right there, I've never noticed this before. Look at between the coracoids. We've got that wishbone again.
Yeah.
Very cool. Much more like a pointy V. Super cool. What a neat animal. Pretty cool. Now, behind us right here, we have a very visually striking display that nevertheless is maybe a little bit silly. We have a cladogram right here, or a phylogeny, of all of these ceratopsian dinosaurs. It's really cool to see all of them right here. You know, Styracosaurus, Ceratosaurus, Aeneosaurus, Pachyrhinosaurus, Ankylosaurus. That one right there, number 3, laurdee. We saw the original of that at Museum of the Rockies. That's Ankylosaurus horneri.
I recognize it.
Yeah, you see it's got those bosses on the nose and above the eyes?
Yeah.
The Pseudoceratops, Diabloceratops. The holotype of Diabloceratops is right here at this museum. I've worked with that specimen before. Must be Utah Ceratops here. Also, I think the holotype is here. And Cosmoceratops right there. And then we've got a very squished Triceratops skull up there. And then, is this Pentaceratops, number 11? Yeah. Anyway, the reason I say this is a little bit silly is that, I mean, in dinosaur paleontology, cladograms change like the weather all the time. And I'm sure this is out of date in a lot of different ways, which is exciting. It shows that the science progresses, you know? But cladograms are never one of those things that are set in stone. They are always changing. You find one new fossil specimen, and it can completely rewrite a tree like this.
But I think, you know, even though I understand that it's not the most scientifically correct, I think that it shows an idea that's to the public.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that all these things are interrelated.
That shows that it's interrelated in a very concrete way. As, you know, whereas to you it's most important that it's in the right order, whereas to me it's like, oh, it's a family.
There you go.
You know, it makes sense to me.
Thank you for that feedback. Yeah. But pretty cool. It is a very visually striking display. It is pretty cool. You don't often see, you know, family trees like this in a public museum. So this is
number 10.
This is cool.
You know?
Number 10? That's Cosmoceratops right there. Yeah. I've worked with that specimen too. I took a bunch of photographs and some measurements of that for Denver Fowler's doctoral work. He's got that in his thesis.
Patrick Pirate says they just had the volunteers rearrange the skulls.
Wait, did they?
I don't think they do. I think it was a joke.
I thought you she said that they had that happen recently. No, these are like bolted to the wall. They're not going anywhere. But yeah. And then down here at the end, we've got Zuniceratops and Protoceratops.
Oh, this one's nice.
Yeah. Zuniceratops, number 13, is from New Mexico. That's an early ceratopsian. It might be one of the earliest ones with horns. And then little Protoceratops is number 14 there from Mongolia. Yeah. Pretty cool. Really neat.
So, how can I...
Yeah?
Like, which one is Never mind. I don't know how to phrase my question.
I want to hear your question.
Which one is the oldest in the rock layer? How could we tell?
These ones are over here.
Because they're lowest on the tree?
Well, that's the thing, is that this tree doesn't actually, don't think of it in terms of time.
Right.
That's one of the shortfalls of like a cladogram, is it doesn't actually take time into account. So Triceratops is at the very top. That's one of the very last dinosaurs to be walk around, here in North America. Like, Triceratops was here when the asteroid struck. So that's one of the very last dinosaurs. And then other ones are a little bit older than that. I think Diabloceratops might be the oldest on here, number 7. It is near the bottom, I guess. Utaceratops is,
I'm curious.
But these guys are the oldest. Protoceratops is from about, I think, like, older than 80 million years. It might be like 90 million years old, Protoceratops, from the Jejacto Formation. And this guy's pretty old, too.
This is kind of subtle, but it's something that's sticking out to me. Just the range of colors for the fossils.
Yeah. So these...
So when they do the casts, do they paint them to be like fossils from where they were found?
They sometimes do. That's a great question, yeah. So you see all those Morrison fossils down there.
Right.
All the stuff from Cleveland Lloyd, they're all kind of like a really dark gray or a black. Morrison fossils tend to be that color. And whereas like a lot of these, we've got stuff from the Two Medicine Formation up here. We've got stuff from the Wall Weep. We've got stuff from the Hell Creek, like that Triceratops up there, or maybe the Lance. I would make that Triceratops like a dark chocolate brown if I were painting it. Because most of our Hell Creek fossils are kind of that color. Maybe a little bit lighter.
Can you show Diablo one more time?
Yeah, Diabloceratops might be one of the prettiest ones. I don't know, I look at this and it looks very juvenile to me. Like, I kind of wonder whether there's another similar ceratopsian, another centrosaurian like this. I think it's Machairoceratops? Or Machairosaurus? I would not be shocked if Machairosaurus is just a fully mature Diabloceratops.
Why is the bottom so red? Is it red clay?
Here? Mm-hmm. The bottom? Oh, I don't remember Diabloceratops actually being that color. I remember it being more of a yellow. But yeah,
so
I mean, different
artistic choice.
Yeah, so I guess that would be an artistic choice in this case. But in most cases, like, fossils will be different colors based on, the mineral composition of the surrounding rock and like the water that would seep into the bones and help permineralize them and fossilize them. Yeah, but generally, like, fossils from a particular area and a particular time will be about the same color. That can change, though. Like, remember when we were at, I think it was when we were at Museum of the Rockies, and we saw some fossils where it's just one bone, and, like, part of it is white.
Yeah.
Or, like, really light colored, and the rest of it is dark. If something is if you leave a fossil out in the sun for years, it will get sun bleached. So that might be the part that was exposed, exactly. Yeah.
Have there been any recent or new dinosaurs in the exhibit?
A real dinosaur?
I think so. I want to say that Ankylosaur down there is new. We'll go take a look at it. I want to say that just went up in 2018, which means I haven't seen it before. I wonder if that one's been named yet. But we'll go take a look. We'll look at that one in a minute. Yeah, a giant Oviraptorosaur. I'm trying to read the sign backwards down there. No, Acanocephalus. Acanocephalus. I'm not even familiar with this dinosaur. We've got so many dinosaurs here in Utah, can't even keep up with them. But yeah, we've got a really cool Cretaceous Ankylosaur down here, and I think this one just went on display in 2018. I know, like, next to nothing about this animal. Its skull reminds me of Zool, that newish Ankylosaur. But I just want to impress upon you, look at how wide the body is there. It's this huge barrel-shaped body. These guys, their teeth are super small and super simple. Honestly, ankylosaurs have kind of wimpy teeth. Just like very simple leaf-shaped little teeth. They don't have very many of them. Those teeth are probably just for like cropping vegetation, for just like taking bites off of bushes and low-growing plants. And then all of the digestion pretty much takes place in the guts. So that's why they have this enormous body like that. I mean, look at how wide that is. That is a wide load, right?
Like a cow. Like
but
cows are.
But like a double cow.
Well, yeah, but like the way
yeah.
that cows are really bulbous and that they eat plants and they need all that gut room.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. These guys are the same, but just like double.
Like more than one stomach, like a cow.
I don't know. I mean,
but there's no way of knowing that.
Not yet, at least. Yeah. I mean, a way to try and frame the question like a little bit more scientifically would be to use the EPB. Look at like modern birds and crocodiles. Do either of them have multiple stomachs? I don't think so, but that's not to say that dinosaurs definitely didn't. We just don't know yet. I don't know how we would test that hypothesis, you know? Yeah. I love the like collar around the neck right there. That's super cool. I've not really seen that in mounted ankylosaur skeletons before. That's super cool. And I love the osteoderms mounted, just kind of hovering above the ribs.
2 questions.
Is Dilophoceratops related to Styracosaurus?
It is in that they're both up there, by the way. There's a Styracosaurus up on that wall too. They're both ceratopsian dinosaurs, and they're both centrosaurians. Yeah. So Styracosaurus is number 4 way over there on the left, on the far left, with these big spikes coming off and the one big horn coming off the nose. Diabloceratops is number 7, kind of the little one at the very bottom there. So they're both on the same side of the ceratopsian family tree. We call these the centrosaurines. They tend to have kind of a more rounded frill on them, and usually there's more emphasis on the nose horn for centrosaurines. I guess Pseudoceratops is an exception. And then there's the chasmosaurines over on the right side. They tend to have more emphasis on their brow horns. They tend to have more rectangular frills made up of the parietal and squamosal bones up there. But yeah. But there's like exceptions to all of these rules. There's Utaceratops is a chasmosaurine that doesn't really have prominent brow horns like that, at least not that individual specimen.
Dorkapocalypse asks, is it true that dinosaurs actually ate rocks to help with digestion, or has that theory been debunked?
That is still a matter of debate. What you're talking about are gastroliths. There are some paleontologists who think that big dinosaurs like sauropods would have ingested stomach stones to help grind up their food in their guts. And there's some who think that's complete bunk. Definitely didn't happen. We're not really sure yet. I don't have a horse in that fight, so you know.
Javasaurus says, couldn't you tell by looking at microfossils where the gut would be?
I mean, we find stones in their guts all the time, yeah. So the stuff is there. But the thing is, were they swallowed in life? Or did they get washed in by a stream or, you know, or current in a river or the lake or whatever that the bones are deposited in?
Just gifted 5 subs.
Think about like a big sauropod dinosaur, like that Barosaurus back there. Think about that, you know, dying and then, you know, it's there in a river. It would form like a great big, like, dam, basically, that all of this water would be pushing against, just like collecting all of this detritus. Most of that stuff would rot away, but stones don't. So, yeah. So I don't know. It's still a matter of debate. Gastroliths, yea or nay? I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on this. I think it'd be cool if they ingested stones, but I don't know if it's true. Yeah.
We got 5 gift subs from Q Ben Sammy.
Holy cow! Q Ben, I really appreciate that. I don't recognize that name, by the way.
I don't recognize that name either. They must be one of our friendly lurkers that we love so much.
Thank you
so
very much.
Ben.
Really appreciate that. I hope you've been enjoying the stream. I take it you have been. But thank you for your support. That means a lot to us. Thank you very much. Yeah. Now we've been standing here for a while in front of this beautiful dinosaur. I know this is a crowd favorite, so I want to make sure that I give this guy some camera time. This is Parasaurolophus. This is this classic duck-billed dinosaur with the big resonating chamber crest coming off of the posterior of its head. Yeah, this is probably like a subadult Parasaurolophus. If it is indeed ontogeny that changes the shape of the crest, which we think it is. But yeah. Maybe if this animal were fully mature, that crest would be even longer and kind of more straight, like in your classic Parasaurolophus walkeri, that specimen that everybody knows and loves. Yeah. This actually, the sign says it's a different species, Parasaurolophus cytocristatus, I think. Yeah. This could also be stratigraphic variation. I don't think those two species lived at the same time, so maybe cytocristatus evolved into Parasaurolophus walkeri or something. I'm not sure. It's the thing. You got to get all of these different variables all in line before you can really say anything definitive about dinosaurs like this. Unified frames of reference is what Jack Horner always called it. Geography, stratigraphy, phylogeny, ontogeny, and taphonomy. You got to figure all that stuff out before you can really figure out dinosaurs' biology and relatedness.
And then, how big this is too. Again, duck-billed dinosaurs are bigger than you think they are. Or at least they get bigger than you think. We've got a lovely ornithomimosaur right here.
And I love how the sign, I don't know if you can see it down there, but it just says Ornithomimus sp. So that means like unidentified species of Ornithomimus. Again, the taxonomy for these guys is such a mess. I mean, ornithomimosaurs are present in basically every, like later Cretaceous formation in North America. And we don't have that many named. The one from the Hell Creek, we don't even know whether we should call it Struthiomimus or Ornithomimus or what. Eventually somebody will find a complete skeleton, and that'll really help kind of figure things out. But for the time being, we've got some good material, but we don't necessarily know what to call them yet. What we need is like a PhD student to just make this her project, to like figure out North American ornithomimosaurs. But it's tough because they're usually pretty fragmentary.
Really cool.
And this reminds me of the... what does this remind you of, laurdee? We saw yesterday?
An ostrich.
Yeah, the ostrich, of course. These are the ostrich dinosaurs.
Very ostrich-like, except for that long bony tail. Really, really cool.
And here, this tail is all sculpted. So, this tail was not present in the original specimen. Yeah.
And here, look at those hind limbs, too. Look at the metatarsals all fused together down there. Just like in Tyrannosaurus.
Again, ornithomimosaurs and tyrannosaurs, probably pretty closely related. I think they come out as like sister groups in most cladograms.
Somebody was asking about Brachychampsa earlier. How many people do we have watching, by the way?
We have 139 viewers right now.
Very nice. Very nice.
This is Brachychampsa, which is an alligatorid
from the Cretaceous. Look at all those armor plates on the back.
They're beautiful.
They really are. There was a study that I just saw the other day on Twitter, just newly published, that was saying that the scutes on crocodile skulls are different developmentally. They're like made of different stuff than the scutes on the back. Those are osteoderms. They're like bones that develop within the skin. The skull, you'll see, still has that same kind of weird, kind of cratery texture on there, kind of pockmarked, just like the scutes along the back and along the tail. But that's like the actual surface of the bone itself is like that. And apparently, like they have very different ways of growing these two elements. I didn't have time to read the full paper, but the abstract was really cool.
Yeah. Even in animals as well known and well studied as crocodilians, we still have new and exciting stuff going on. Check that over there. That is Deinosuchus over there, one of the largest crocodilians that's ever lived. It's from the late Cretaceous of North America. I think like Campanian times. Look at this guy right here. We've got a giant Oviraptorosaur.
Is this Anzu right here? What does the sign say it is? Oh, Hogryphus. Okay. We've got a really, really big oviraptorosaur like this from the Hell Creek. Can you scoot over a little bit, Libby? Thanks. Yeah, so this is similar to your classic, like, oviraptor from Mongolia. But these guys got huge. And that looks like the same skull model that I've seen in Anzu, which is the Hell Creek giant oviraptorosaur. But check that out. This is a very bird-like dinosaur. It's also got that. And look, this is probably the museum that I've seen with the most furculae per square foot. It's also got that wishbone right there, the furcula. Look at that. He's coming at you. He's like, what? What? Come at me.
What's with the eye bones?
Yeah, those are the sclerotic ossicles. So, almost all vertebrate animals have those bones in their eye like that. Mammals are weird in that we don't. So we're like kind of a weird exception.
But yeah, those are actually, they basically like line where the actual eyeball would be. So I think the actual eyeball is in the center of that. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a barnacle, especially that one right there.
Does.
Yeah, really cool, toothless theropod dinosaur. We still don't really know what these guys are eating. I mean, honestly, they probably ate whatever they wanted. But, yeah. Teeth are usually our number one clue for figuring out what a dinosaur ate. So when they lose their teeth, we're kind of in the dark. And these guys, they evolved toothlessness over time. They just got rid of their teeth. Yeah. Latina Geeks is thousands of years later and it still looks kind of goofy. Tens of millions of years later. Yeah.
Back before this animal was named, and back before any of the big North American oviraptorosaurs were named,
there were like nicknames for these guys before they were described. And the one from the Hell Creek was nicknamed the Chicken from Hell.
Well, you could probably see why. It's a very similar animal to this. This is probably the one from the late Cretaceous, like Campanian of Utah. Yeah. And anyway, here is Deinosuchus right here. This is a giant alligator.
I think it's an alligatorid. I don't know my crocodilian phylogeny too well. Yeah, giant alligator from the Campanian of North America. So between like 79 and 75 million years ago, something like that. And Izzy, you don't think the arms are right? What do you mean? For the oviraptorosaur? I mean, we know that the arms could extend out to the sides like that. Yeah. We actually have oviraptorosaurs that are sitting on nests that have their arms pushed out to the sides like that. So, yeah. We know these guys also had long feathers that would come off of the arms, too. Caudipteryx from Liaoning shows us that. But yeah, I know the arms look kind of goofy, but this is more correct than having like the old-fashioned dinosaur like arms folded against the chest kind of thing. These dinosaurs, if they were to have their arms at rest, it would be folded to the sides like this, like a bird. Yeah, I know it looks odd, but that's the way it is. Yeah.
And again, Deinosuchus, really cool. I think Rob Gaston put this together. I saw one of these in his workshop back in 2014.
Really awesome. This is life-size, by the way. I'll give you a sense of scale here. This is a school bus. I mean, it's a crocodilian about the size of a school bus. Have you ever seen the movie Lake Placid? I think the crocodiles in that movie are slightly smaller than this, which was real. Deinosuchus. The ones in Lake Placid were not.
And there's a little Dromaeosaurid, still unnamed.
This reminds me of the Bambiraptor. Yeah, and we've got Teratophonius up there. This is that same Tyrannosaur that we saw in the lab. So the skull there. Yeah, pretty cool. So Tyrannosaurs from the southern part of Laramidia during Judith River times, Campanian age. Pretty
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
KJ says, so are those not dinos? I'm assuming they're named dinos.
Oh, Deinosuchus? No, this is not a dinosaur right here. That's a crocodile. Yeah. Crocodiles, despite what people say in the popular media, crocodiles and alligators are not dinosaurs. They're related to dinosaurs. They're like cousins to the dinosaurs, but they are not dinosaurs themselves. Crocodilians and birds are the last surviving archosaurs. I shouldn't be telling you this. I'm just confusing you further. Anyway, crocodiles like this, they split off before dinosaurs become a thing. So crocodilians are already kind of doing their thing before the first dinosaurs show up.
At least like stem crocodilians do. Yeah, pretty neat. Pretty neat.
And then...
The last of our dinosaurs?
Yeah, except for these little ones. Yeah, so we are kind of moving beyond our dinosaurs here and into the Cenozoic era. So I guess right here, this is extinction event. Asteroid impact. You know, it's about 75% of all life on Earth dies out. Only the small little creatures survive. You know, lizards, snakes, little crocodilians, fishes, insects, and mammals. And mammals eventually get big.
Says something that I'm confused about. So dinos are descendants of crocs and not the other way around.
No, tropical dinosaurs and crocodiles are not. Crocodiles are not dinosaurs. Related. No. Well, I mean they're distantly related, but no. Crocodiles did not evolve from dinosaurs. The only creatures that evolved from dinosaurs, the only dinosaurs we still have around today, are these little guys. Are birds. Birds are the only dinosaurs we still have around today, tropical. Crocodiles are kind of like dinosaurs. Think of it as like their second or third cousins. They're older second or third cousins, I guess. So they're not dinosaurs themselves. This is got to be some sort of brontothere, right? Very cool. Oh, you went to Therium, yeah. Pretty cool. We will see some of these guys in just a few days in Vernal, Utah. So I'm not gonna dally on these. Again, these are not dinosaurs. We are leaving the dinosaur section here, and we're moving on into the age of mammals here. So, yeah. We still have some dinosaurs, the birds, but for the most part, it's the mammal show after this. You know, after the asteroid impact.
One more question about birds. Is there a species of bird that's really closest to dinos? I think it was chickens, right?
It's all birds, Izzy. Yeah. There's no one species of bird. All birds evolved from dinosaurs, and all birds, they seem to have a single origin point.
I was going to ask you one origin point.
Yeah, it's like all birds
survived the extinction event. Or perhaps that ancestor was not at the extinction event.
Well, no.
Okay.
So the ancestor of all birds would be like during the Jurassic period, around the same time as Archaeopteryx.
Oh,
birds
right.
had already
First
diversified
bird.
a bit. Yeah.
Early bird.
Yeah. And so there's a few bird groups that survived the extinction event, and those are the ancestors of today's birds. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So birds had already diversified pretty impressively by the time the asteroid hits. Yeah.
Oh. Atina Geek says mammals rule, dinos rule. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I'm not a mammal guy myself. I work on dinosaurs, but you know what? I have appreciation for mammals. Some of my best friends are mammals. So we're going to check out some mammals right now. Who can identify this? We just saw this yesterday. Yeah, you remember this guy. This is Harlan's giant ground sloth, Paramylodon. This is a critter that's actually pretty near and dear to my heart. We've got one in Berkeley. A really, really cool specimen that I'd love to do a project on. We'll have to see if that works out. But yeah, look at those hips. Just nuts. Look at those.
You could sit we could both sit on those hips.
We seriously could,
it's
yeah.
Like 2 seats.
We could just have a meal, like, sitting there in its ribcage.
Yeah, we could.
Again, like the therizinosaurs we saw down there, like Nothronicus with that super big, wide ribcage, or like the Ankylosaur. Again, these are hindgut fermenters.
really slow-moving animals. Look at its feet right there. Look at how it walks on the sides of its feet.
That's so weird.
That looks so uncomfortable.
Would it have had pads on that side?
Yeah, presumably, yeah. Yeah, and these guys would walk around on all fours most of the time.
Are there other animals that walk on the sides of their feet like that?
Sloths do when they're on the ground. Tree sloths.
That makes sense.
Yeah. They're very slow and awkward on the ground. Apparently, ground sloths were also very slow and awkward on the ground. But yeah, and I think, if anything, some other xenarthran mammals might. Armadillos don't, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to think of any other ones. Oh. There's Arctodus, the short-faced bear. We saw a skull of one of these yesterday in Idaho Falls. But these are probably the tallest bears to ever live. They've got pretty long limbs. So there was a hypothesis for a long time that these guys were like pursuit predators. They were very, very fast runners. Like chased down and ate horses. I think, like we were talking about yesterday, that hypothesis has mostly fallen out of favor. I think isotopic data has run against that hypothesis. No pun intended. But yeah, really cool. Arctodus, short-faced bear. Look at it, it's got the tiniest little wimpiest tail right too. Oh man. And then, is that our Columbian mammoth in the back? Yeah. Mammuthus columbi. It's the same one that we saw fleshed out yesterday in Idaho. There's a skeleton of a Columbian mammoth. Pretty cool. And then, everybody's favorite, Smilodon. Again, this is our state fossil in California. Saber-toothed cat. Not saber-toothed tiger, as a lot of people call it. These are not tigers. They are actually their own genus of cat. So, I don't know what they'd be most closely related to in terms of modern cats. I don't know. Not to Felis, I don't think. Not to pumas or house cats. Not to tigers. Not to lions, I don't think. I'm not sure what Smilodon falls out next to. It might be like equally distantly related to all of these groups. To all of those modern cats. And there's bison latifrons. Again, remember, Laurdee, yesterday we saw the bison with
this
those...
This one's even bigger.
I know.
This one's a cast. It's full.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Pretty cool. Here, let's put you in front.
Yeah.
Have you spread your arms. That is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But the thing that I find most impressive and most interesting about it are those neural spines. Look at, coming off the top of those vertebrae there, you've got these super long neural spines. Again, it reminds me of Acrocanthosaurus or Suchomimus or even Spinosaurus. Might be something there, you know? Nobody says that these guys had a sail. And yet, yeah. And they're not, look at them in cross section. Like, look at those spines from the back. They're not very thick. They're pretty thin. So makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yeah.
So you dig up dinosaurs?
Oh, and Dark Raven? I didn't even know about that. Giant polar bear from the Pleistocene?
Dr. Young's lab and their
That's
20
pretty cool.
readers want to know what it's like.
Collaborated with the party of 20.
Hey, Dr. Young's lab. Welcome to Paleontologizing. So great to have you here. Here, we should do introductions again real quick. Yeah. You go first.
I'm Laurdee from Cooking with Laurdee. I usually do cooking content on Twitch. If you want to give me a follow, go ahead.
Please
you can also
do.
follow me on Instagram, where I'm posting food from our trip. But right now, I am touring the Natural History Museum of Utah with my good friend Danny Anduza.
Yep. I'm Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist here on Twitch, trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach, as always. And we've been visiting this marvelous museum along with a bunch of other museums all across the American West. We're on this huge road trip right now. And so glad you could join us. This has been super, super cool. We just walked through all the dinosaur displays. We'll probably walk through there before we go to our exit, too.
Okay.
Maybe see a few more highlights before we leave.
Yeah, I did want to say that we updated our schedule. Danny updated his schedule on
good
Twitch.
point.
So go ahead and check out our schedule to see when we're going to be streaming the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Times are approximate within about an hour or so, but we tried to get everything on schedule there.
We're going to do a stream, I think, pretty much every day, right?
Pretty much every day.
And most of these streams are going to be from museums, which is going to be really cool. That's the whole point. That's why we're on this trip. So, yeah. Here, before we walk back down through the dinosaur displays, let me show you where we are right now. We're in Salt Lake City, Utah, and there's it's so hazy out there you really can't see. There's the Utah State Capitol building. I forget what that point is called. But yeah, there's Salt Lake City behind us, or below us here. And glad we're not outside right now. It's probably close to 100 degrees out there, Fahrenheit. But yeah. Anyway, well, I guess we're going to be... we're going to be descending in time a little bit. Let's check this out, though. Oh, this is cool. Need a hands-on display. The rain cloud there. Pretty cool. I like hands-on displays like that. So yeah. Peppercat says, I'm excited all about the museum streams. Me too. Yeah, they have been super fun so far. I like these bird displays up here. Here, we'll take a look at this real quick before we go back in time. But here's a display on wetlands, one of the most underappreciated natural biomes, at least up until recently. Like early in the 20th century, and especially before then, people didn't use the word wetlands. People talked about swamps, or maybe if they're being charitable, they'd talk about marshes. But a lot of people saw this as wasted space early on. And you just pave it all over, build an airport there. What's it going to hurt? Wetlands turn out to be extremely important for a lot of different reasons. Not only do they harbor a lot of biodiversity, of all these different critters, herons and loons and grebes and mallards and muskrats and pack rats and frogs and snakes and fishes and just so many different kinds of wildlife live in marshes. Not to mention all the invertebrates and the birds, like passerine birds, plants. Holy cow. Marshes also hold a really, really critical function in filtering out water and cleaning it, and also in protecting against storm surges and stuff like that. The Florida Everglades are fantastic for this kind of thing, for dissipating hurricanes that are coming in and preventing flooding. And so a lot of different municipalities, different cities and towns across the United States and around the world are realizing how important wetlands are for so many different reasons, and they're helping to preserve them. So this is pretty cool. I love a display like this where it has a water surface that you can kind of look beneath.
I was going to say, this is a really cool display too.
Yeah, isn't that cool? This looks like a great blue heron right here. Great blue heron. Ardea herodias, I think, is the Latin name for a great blue heron. And I don't even know what kind of bird this is. It kind of reminds me of a red-winged blackbird, but it's not. It's got a yellow head. We don't have these back home. I'm not sure what that is. And among the cattails and the reeds. Pretty cool. And all of these different bird species. This is, I guess, all a display about the Great Salt Lake here in Utah. These look like trumpeter swans up here. And then American white pelicans. And those look like... They remind me of scarlet ibis. There's some kind of ibis. That long, droopy bill. At least they look like ibis. I don't think they're curlews.
It responds to your feet.
Oh, neat.
That is cool.
I'm not sure what it's supposed to represent, but I think it's cool.
Uh-huh. That's really neat.
I know.
I mean, it's interactive. Again, I don't know what it's supposed to teach us. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, anyway. We'll check this out and then we'll go back through the fossil displays.
Got some sort of wimbrel or other kind of shorebird right there. Might be a stilt.
I don't know what that is. Apparently the Great Salt Lake, which is just outside of Salt Lake City, is at like its lowest point right now in about 100 years. Like, lowest lake level. Least amount of water.
It's kind of concerning. Pretty cool. The soils around the lake are too salty for most plants, but a few species thrive here thanks to adaptations that help them cope with excess salt. Some, like pickleweed and iodine bush, store salt in hollow chambers inside cells in their fleshy stems. Others, like saltgrass and shad scale, have cells that pump salt out through their leaves and stems.
Pretty neat. Pretty neat. It's evolution in action right there. Anyway, yeah, you like the bird sounds? Me too, Hannies. Could sit here all day. Pretty cool. You can hear that bird of prey right there. They mixed that in. Pretty neat. And in Dark Raven, dinosaurs in a partially restored environment. We have one of those downstairs. Were you here for that earlier? I think it was the Wawweep Formation. We'll see it as we go down. Shall we boogie on down through the fossil displays again?
We can even take a seat downstairs for a minute and take a bite of it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Past worlds. I guess this is actually the way we were supposed to go through.
I think we were.
Yeah. I've never done it that way, but yeah. Well, let's go ahead and descend through time here. Go past these Pleistocene mammals.
Yeah, I know.
Past bison latifrons here. Our Smilodon. Our Columbian mammoth. Our short-faced bear.
And our Harlan's ground sloth. Pretty cool. And then into like Eocene times, 50 million years ago. Big Uintathere.
And then down into the dinosaur world.
Yeah. This is where it's at.
Do you have a card on there? Did you pass them on?
Yeah.
Just in case I see Olivia on my out.
Uh-huh. Here, go into the little sleeve in there, and there should be some in there. And then you can hand it to me again. I love how this just says dromaeosaurid, too. I wonder how many different specimens contributed parts to that skeletal mount right there. But it just says dromaeosaurid. So many of the small dinosaurs still remain undescribed from so many different formations. It's pretty interesting. Deinosuchus, giant alligatorid. Again, for anybody who came in with the raid or wasn't here for the beginning of the stream, we are now backtracking through all this stuff that we saw earlier. So I'm just giving you a quick highlight reel, I guess, as we go through again. We've got this giant Oviraptorosaur. I say giant, but there are even bigger ones from Mongolia. There's a genus that is appropriately enough named Gigantoraptor. This one is Hagryphus giganteus. I think this is from like the Campanian of Utah. We've got a big one from the Hell Creek too, about the same size, called Anzu, A-N-Z-U. Yeah. Anzu Wiley, I think is the name. We've got our Teratophonius back there. It says that is the one in the foreground, two-legged meat-eating dinosaur. That Tyrannosaur is a juvenile and then an adult. I'm not sure the adult looks fully adult. I wonder if they actually have any EFSs. If they've done histo on these, if we actually know how old and how mature the animal was when it died. I wouldn't be surprised, or I would suspect that animals still had some growing left to do.
What's a Campanian?
A what?
Trappy Jenkins.
Trappy Jenkins says...
Campanian.
Sorry. Campanian.
Sorry.
Yeah. The Campanian is... It's like a subdivision within the Cretaceous period. So it talks about a span of time. You've got these different... You can call them stages, or you can call them epochs, but like different stages of time. So the Campanian is the second to last one in the Cretaceous period. It goes Campanian, and then Maastrichtian is at the very end. So the Maastrichtian is like the Hell Creek Formation, the very end of the Age of Dinosaurs. But the Campanian is just before. And during the Campanian, you've got huge diversity of different dinosaurs, including Parasaurolophus right there. Really, really famous duck-billed dinosaur. That. One of the most charismatic of the hadrosaurs. Or at least that's what you'd be led to think if you only get your dinosaur information from popular media. Parasaurolophus is very popular. One of everybody's favorites.
Is Turonian before Campanian?
Santonian, I think, is before the Campanian. Turonian, Santonian, Campanian, I think. I used to know all of these by heart.
And then Izzy wants to know how many eras there are, but I don't want to make you count.
Oh, how many epochs or stages?
Do I dare ask how many eras we have?
Oh, how many eras? Just a few. Eras are the big ones. Eras are like Mesozoic era, Paleozoic era, Cenozoic era. So like the Age of Dinosaurs is the Mesozoic era. An era is a really big one. I think the only one we have bigger than that is an eon. So think of it like Russian nesting dolls. Like you've got eons, and then you've got eras, and then you've got periods, and then you've got epochs or stages. So how many stages are there in the Mesozoic? I think there's like close to 30. Yeah, 20 or 30. I used to know them all by heart. I'm embarrassed that I can't rattle them off right now. I gotta work on that, huh? Anyway, we've got an ornithomimid right here. Ornithomimus spa, it says. It's one of your classic ostrich dinosaurs. Very cool. And then the big ceratopsian phylogeny wall. Got a big old cladogram with different horned dinosaurs on it. Which is cool to see. I mean, to my dinosaur paleontologist eye, it's like, why would you put a cladogram on the wall? These things change like the weather. But it is really cool to see, to like show the general public, these are all animals that fit into a big family. They're all related to each other. And their exact relationships might kind of change and fluctuate the more that we learn about certain ones and with new fossil finds, but it's just really cool to see this kind of thing nonetheless. It's cool to be able to show the public, like, yeah, all of these different horned dinosaurs, they're all related to one another. This is not stamp collecting. This is so much more involved and much more interesting than that, We're not just like naming different dinosaurs and throwing them into a pile, trying to figure out how they're related to one another. Which ones evolved into other ones, too. What were the parts that they played? Where did they come in this grand pageant of life on Earth? It's really cool. Over here, we've got our Ceratosaurus. Just trying to menace this Marchosaurus away from dead Stegosaurus here. Really cool. You never see Marchosaurus on display like that too, so this is really neat. And again, I wonder, is Marchosaurus just a juvenile Torvosaurus? Has anybody explored that question before? I don't know. Yeah.
Everybody, my chat went down for just a second. Celso Coco says, where is it exactly? I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Yeah.
And also, we're cooking with Laurdee subbed for 15 months.
Oh, holy cow. Thank you, Laurdee. Really appreciate that. 15 months. Holy moly.
I know.
It's a year and a quarter right there.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let's trace this tail. Goes like that. And then down here. And then it goes under the walkway.
The Cleveland
up to
Barosaurus up there.
Super cool. Let's go take a look at Barosaurus real quick. I can't not do that. We already walked through here, but I just love to see it. Check that out. Just... It's cool to like look at a dinosaur like this and marvel at how big it is. It's even cooler. This is the galaxy brain take right here. To think about how this animal... let's make sure my camera's still on. There we go. As I was saying, it's really cool to look at a dinosaur like this and just marvel at how big it is. Just, take in sheer scale of it. But the real galaxy brain take is to look at this animal and imagine it hatching out of an egg no bigger than a soccer ball. That's an incredible change in size over
just changed things with
not even that long.
It's
It's not like these animals take 100 years to get that big. Maybe 30 years or something like that. Maybe 40 to get this big out of, being basically a foot long when you're born, hatching out of a little egg.
Quick question.
Yeah. JP Doozy, thank you so much. Holy
Thanks,
cow.
JP Doozy. We really appreciate
Really
your
appreciate
support.
that. Thank you. That keeps us going here. So thank you.
And then Pete asks, why is the tail so long?
That's a great question. We'll talk about that in a couple days when we go to the Utah Fieldhouse Museum in Vernal. We've got a great display of a Diplodocus there with a super long tail. But yeah, we're still not really sure why the tail is that long. I mean, look at that tail right there. Look at how long and whip-like it is. Look at how long the vertebrae get and how thin they are. Just how narrow that tail is at the very, very end. Why would they evolve such a really long whip-like tail? One of the hypotheses is that it was for basically use as a whip. But yeah, we'll talk a bit more about that later. Look at that. All the way down.
Sort of like a layer cake to see what.
Really, really cool.
Really cool. I love this display talking about 4 different hypotheses for how the Cleveland Lloyd Quarry
We have a very
came to be.
large array of
We talked about this earlier, for anybody who's new.
destroyed bones and a large
All these different skulls of different dinosaurs from the Cleveland Lloyd. Do you have a favorite one of these, Laurdee?
I think this is someplace else too. This is the Torvosaurus, or no? This is the
Ceratosaurus. Yeah.
Ceratosaurus, which
Or-
is over here too, right?
Yeah, that's the same one over there.
Really
Yeah.
nothing on his nose.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And his little brow bones. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Ceratosaurus a lot too. They were really neat. I'm going to have to say my favorite. I'm going to be a little bit of a contrarian here. My favorite's got to be, Camptosaurus. Underappreciated Camptosaurus. Really nice, beaky ornithopod dinosaur from the Morrison. Camptosaurus doesn't get enough love, so you know what? I'm going to say Camptosaurus is my favorite out of those. And look at that. Take a look at this display.
Just incredible. And you've got this juvenile, I hope you can see this in the camera, this juvenile Allosaurus climbing up the side of this Barosaurus. It's pushing off of his thigh, jumping up there. Oh man. You never see a sauropod on its knees like this in a museum. This is cool.
Right here, I wonder if... Okay, that's okay. Sometimes in order to actually get a dinosaur's tail to bend at a certain angle, you have to break the bones in it.
And it looks like this is almost approaching that point where these are going to start to break. Yeah.
But these animals probably would have had to kneel down like this to lay their eggs, I would imagine. So this is something it would have had to do in life.
Corson asks, are they still discovering new types of dinosaurs?
Absolutely, yeah. So, let's see. Korkon, welcome to Paleontologizing, by the way. You're probably new here, right? So great to have you. We have new dinosaurs being named all the time. So, just to give you an idea, I did a tally at New Year's last year, at the end of 2020. And I counted 48 new species of dinosaur that were described during the year 2020. So that's almost one per week.
But the
And that's
paleontologist field is narrow to what we understand.
it's kind of amazing, but that's
On
about the
contrary,
average nowadays. We
stretch our
find new
understanding
dinosaurs
of
all the
science
time, and
in
it
the
takes a
universe.
few years to dig them up and to clean them and then to study them properly and illustrate them and then write up a paper and get it published. It's a very long process. It can take years, it can take decades. But we've got enough of those. That process is going on enough that we basically get a new dinosaur almost, it's like once every 2 weeks, something like that. 2020 was kind of a remarkable year. I feel like that was a record. And the pandemic, I'm sure has affected this a lot. You're not going to have... I'm guessing 2021 is going to be a lot slower. Probably 2022 as well. There's fewer things in the hopper there. But, yeah, we've got new dinosaurs coming out all the time. I also suspect we're going to have some kind of winnowing out of the number of dinosaurs for some groups too. You'll have some dinosaurs being sunk, as we call it, where it turns out that, hey, they're not actually different from each other. This one that we thought was a different genus or species might just be a juvenile or a fully mature adult of a previously known species. But yeah. Anyway, looks like Laurdee's pretty eager to get out of here, so...
Sorry, I'm not.
You're not? Okay.
No, it's 4:30 though.
Okay. We've got half an hour left until the museum closes. I want to pay another quick visit to Nathranicus here and just appreciate how cool this weird dinosaur
Big
is.
fella, isn't he? 70 feet long.
This is a big, stocky, slow-moving, upright walking theropod dinosaur. This is a funny thing. If you look at dinosaur reconstructions from the early 20th century, from the 1930s to the 1950s, even into the 60s, a lot of dinosaurs like T-Rex are shown in paintings and stuff, and it's skeletal mounts kind of walking upright with their backbone, kind of like a kangaroo or like Godzilla or something.
Yeah.
And so nowadays we know that most theropod dinosaurs did not walk like that. They walked with their backbones
like that ostrich dinosaur over there, horizontal to the ground, parallel to the ground.
Therizinosaurs are this is a group of meat-eating dinosaurs that evolved to eat plants, and they break all the rules like that. And they're yeah, no, actually, we're going to walk upright. We're going to do what paleontologists used to think theropods did. And they develop these really weird, wonky hips like that.
Look at these big iliac crests, how they come out to the sides like this.
Yeah.
What does that remind you of? What was the other weird animal we saw with the big wide hips?
A sloth?
Yeah, the giant sloth back there.
Yeah.
Therizinosaurs have been described as sloth-like dinosaurs. These guys were first, really. Sloths are therizinosaur-like. But yeah, it's just so weird that they start walking upright. Their tails get really short and stumpy. This is very short for a dinosaur tail because they don't need it for balance anymore because they're walking kind of upright like this. This is the natural pose for an Nathranicus, for a big therizinosaur. And their toes, too. Most theropod dinosaurs walk with only 3 toes contacting the ground. These guys, eventually their number 1 toe, their hallux, actually gets really robust and starts contacting the ground, and that helps bear their enormous weight. They're so weird. Therizinosaurs are so weird. And you wonder, if this is a really slow-moving dinosaur, how is it defending itself? Well, they seem to have had pretty large brains and very good senses so that they could see and hear predators as they're approaching. And then this is probably their primary means of defense. These really robust arms with really long reach and those ridiculous claws. These are substantial claws right here. This has got to be 7 inches, something like that. Other therizinosaurs, like their namesake Therizinosaurus, have claws that are 2 feet long. Just crazy, crazy long. They probably would have been used for grabbing tree branches and stuff and pulling down foliage to eat, but also would have been used in defense, presumably. If you're a tyrannosaur and you want to come after a therizinosaur, you've got to deal with those long arms and those claws trying to scratch you. Yeah, Yeah.
Soso wants to know if dinos lived alone or if they moved in packs.
That's a great question. Who is that?
Soso? I think they're new. Soso Coco? They
Hey.
speak French.
So Coco, well, welcome to Paleontologizing. That is an excellent question. We are becoming ever more convinced that most dinosaurs seem to have lived in groups. They were very social animals. There's a number of different displays here that show dinosaurs moving around in groups, which they probably did. Think about birds today. A lot of birds live in groups. Birds are living dinosaurs. And like, the more you know about birds, kind of the more you know about dinosaurs too. They provide a really good analogy for a lot of dinosaur behavior and biology.
Hadrosaurs like this, these duck-billed dinosaurs, are famous for being found in big assemblages together. Lots and lots of them found in the same place.
We think that these guys lived in massive herds. They would have been very social animals. This is Gripposaurus right here.
Gripposaurus monumentensis. This is actually a different Gripposaurus species, I think, than we have in Montana.
Evil Catsy, you just got 5 subs.
Oh, holy cow, Evil Catsy. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for the support.
Holy cow. Is our sub goal updating with that?
It's not updating, but I think we're getting really close, you guys. I think
fantastic. Thank you so much.
Really close, and we really appreciate you guys and all your support. Thank you so much.
Yeah, look at how big this is. I just can't get over this. This is so huge.
It's really an
This is much bigger than the Gripposaurus I've dug up in Montana. They're, what is, I forget the species of Gripposaurus from there in northern Montana, but yeah, these guys lived in herds, duck-billed dinosaurs. This is cool. We didn't look at this on the way in. The North Horn Formation, and yeah.
We have Torosaurus right here, number 1.
So yeah, this is that big frill at Museum of the Rockies, of course, where I was trained and everything. There are some paleontologists there who became convinced that Torosaurus is actually just a fully mature Triceratops. It's the same animal.
Mikey likes _1 teachers
This
gifted 5 subs.
is a Torosaurus specimen from here in Utah. There's something interesting going on with the stratigraphy for Torosaurus and Triceratops, which I won't get into right now, but it'll be really exciting to see some research that is waiting to be published right now on this. But it's really cool to see this here. This makes sense that it would be Torosaurus, especially that this is older than Hell Creek rocks. These are like 76 million years ago. Like the end of the Campanian, I guess, or... Well, no, it's in the Campanian, I guess.
We just got 5 gift subs from Mikey Likes.
Mikey Likes, thank you so much. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Mikey.
that. Holy cow. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for supporting us.
You guys are really what's making this trip happen.
Seriously.
We couldn't get into the museums without you guys. We would, be just 2 people in museums all by themselves, and we're really lucky to have you guys with us.
I
so
certainly
thank you
wouldn't
guys
be
for
able
your
to support. I wouldn't be able to afford all the mobile data that I need for this without your support. So thank you. This is you're making this happen, and I appreciate you. And everybody else, please thank the people giving out those gift subs, because that's the reason you're able to watch this right now.
Oh, they're getting some love. They're getting some love.
Yeah.
Antelope says, did dinosaurs perhaps chirp or sing like birds too, or would they roar or something else?
Antelope, that is a great question. Welcome, by the way. I don't think I've seen you here before. So, it's actually really appropriate that I'm standing in front of Gripposaurus answering this question. So, dinosaur vocalizations, a lot of those are kind of, sounds don't fossilize. So, it's tricky. Like, how do you answer a question like that? But dinosaurs like these, the duck-billed dinosaurs, kind of give us a clue. Some of them, like Parasaurolophus, just around the corner over there, it's got this big crest on the back of its head. That's a dinosaur where we can actually, basically test how they would have sounded. It's that crest on the back of its head we think is a resonating chamber. It's hooked up to the animal's respiratory system. It goes in through the nostrils. It's got a hollow tube that goes down to the back, to the windpipe. And so, by creating a model of that, blowing through it, you can kind of see what this animal would have sounded like. It's a really, really low frequency tone, like a contrabass or something.
we have a hype train going. We got 5 gift subs from Random Bug UK. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Random Bug UK.
And we got 5 gift subs from Nafron.
Thank you, Nafron. Holy cow. Really appreciate that.
And 100 bits from Mikey. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you,
Mikey,
all of you guys, so much. We really appreciate your support.
That's phenomenal. Thank you very, very much. Fantastic. Fantastic. You think we made our goal from today?
I think we made our goal.
I think
from
we did
today.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know why that thing's not updating, but you guys are great.
It is
Thank you
updating,
very
but
much.
it's several behind, and we really appreciate you guys. And reaching that so goal means a lot to us.
Seriously.
Means that yeah, we can afford today. So
thank you.
That's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We are on budget. Yeah. Anyway.
100 bits. Dark Apocalypse. 200 bits.
Thank you, you guys. Really appreciate it.
We're almost at a level 5 hype train. We might have to get
Wait,
ukulele.
Well, I've got it in the...
Happiest Collie.
I've got it in the car.
We just got 5 more gift subs from Happiest Collie.
Thank you, Happy.
Completed a level 5.
We did.
Yeah.
Am I going to have to play an ukulele song out in the parking lot?
If you want to, you don't have to.
Gift subs.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. It's going to be really hot out there. I don't want to my ukulele to burst into flames.
That's true. That's true. We might have to owe you guys a ukulele song.
We might do a rain check here.
But we appreciate you guys so much, and we will definitely grab a drink tonight on you guys.
Seriously,
Thank you,
yes.
Random. We really appreciate that.
Well, let me answer this question real quick about dinosaur vocalizations. Yeah. So dinosaurs don't have the same vocal apparatus. We have no reason to think they would have had the same thing as modern mammals, like a larynx and our voice box and stuff.
Long time ago.
You know, crocodilians don't have that. Birds don't have that. Dinosaurs wouldn't have had that. Dinosaur vocal apparatus would be probably like a cross between a bird and a crocodile. Probably a little bit more bird-like, honestly, especially for the more bird-like dinosaurs. But I don't know. I remember seeing some headlines a while ago saying that, a new study shows that dinosaurs didn't roar. Instead, they chirped like birds. It's like, okay. Like some of the same vocal apparatus. But if you scale up a bird so that it gets really big, like this is a troodontid dinosaur. It's not going to sound the same as a little chirpy bird. It's going to sound a lot more guttural, a lot more fearsome. So yeah. Anyway, I love this display. It's just showing. Yeah.
And we got another 100 bits from KJ.
Galars the Cat. Hey, thank you for that. Really appreciate it. And another one from who?
KJ.
From KJ? Thank you, KJ. Wonderful.
We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Holy cow. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Sam.
This cool display here.
Let's protect
reproduction of what this environment would look like.
If they're removed, America loses them. Correct.
Really cool. There. How's it going?
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks again. You guys.
Thanks, Lordy. Yeah. Are those dinosaur eggs right there? They certainly don't look like crocodilian eggs. Those have got to be dinosaur eggs. Yeah.
I know, it's such a creepy exhibit with the chips coming out.
I don't know what taxon that's supposed to be. Yeah. This is what Utah would have looked like in the late Cretaceous period. I think this is Wawweep Formation, or...
Dark Raven says, aren't your birds syrinxes a evolutionary feature too? I don't think we found them in dinosaurs as of yet.
Yeah, I think it's been speculated that dinosaurs would have had something resembling a syrinx, but that is like a derived bird characteristic, yeah, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Julia Clark, right? Had a paper about this not too long ago. There was a bird discovered from Antarctica, a fossil bird from the Cretaceous, that had soft tissue, like a syrinx preserved, basically. And that was like a derived characteristic. This is something that evolved specially in birds. So dinosaurs would have had something probably similar to that. They wouldn't have had like a larynx like us, though. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for kind of correcting me about that. Yeah. I may have said before at one point that dinosaurs had syrinxes. I don't know. I don't think that's true outside of birds. So yeah. Yeah.
Are there any ancient amphibians here?
Amphibians? We saw some frogs up in the modern display area up there, in the Salt Lake, Great Salt Lake exhibit. But I don't think we saw any fossils here. They are around. Amphibian fossils tend to be very small, and yeah, at least in the Cretaceous. If we were to have any amphibians, they'd probably be in here. There's like a guitar fish or something similar right there. That might be Myliodaphis or Mylobatus, one of those ray-like fishes. Down here, can you see that? If I could get the camera underneath, I could show you, but I don't think I can go that low. Yeah. Yeah. And here, let's check out these again. Remember the Griposaurus skeleton that we saw that back there? The big duck-billed dinosaur? Here's its actual skull. Now you recognize it? Yeah, yeah.
So do you think that this is the skull from that specimen?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that
was a
that skull
cast
that's on there?
skull because it's too big.
Yeah. But that's mostly sculpted, I think, probably based on this specimen right here.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sculpted very, in a very true-to-life way. But yeah. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. That's enormous. I mean, just to give you a sense of scale here, that is a huge duck-billed dinosaur skull. Just gargantuan. This is the parietal bar right here of Utaceratops. Look how it's not really like super symmetrical. I don't know if that's diagenetic or if that's just like the individual animal had kind of a wonky frill or what, but yeah, pretty cool. Here's some plant fossils from the Kaiparowitz Formation. Look at that, big old. Some pine needles there. This is what, like 79 million years old? Give or take a few. And over here, once again, we'll say hello to our friend Lithranax.
Very, very neat.
The earliest tyrannosaurid from North America, maybe in the world, I'm not sure. But Lithranax. Pretty cool. Its name means
the Gore King, Lithranax.
I mean, the authors describe, like, king is in reference to one of its possible descendants, Tyrannosaurus Rex, tyrant lizard king. But also Lithro, Gore. This is an animal that probably would have had, like, blood and guts all over its face all the time. Think about, like, a giant vulture or, like, a lion feeding on a carcass. Really messy.
Just imagine that, kind of coating the animal's face. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. And then moving on down through here again. So moving from the Cretaceous into the Eocene, within the Cenozoic era, the age of mammals.
It's a really cool display of like Green River Formation fossils. This is what that environment may have looked like.
Dave in accounting gifted Sosa
We did? Okay, so we might lose signal again.
Dave in accounting gifted a tier 1 sub to Sosa Coco.
Dave in accounting, thank you so much for the gift subs
in the channel.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave in accounting. Thank you very much. Thanks for always supporting us. Oh, we didn't look at this earlier. Look at all of these plant fossils. Also, I think from the Green River. Yeah.
Plant fossils tell us about climate.
Yeah. Pretty cool. You You could probably identify some of these plants. These are from, I think, the Eocene. So they're from after the extinction of the non-bird dinosaurs. I see what look like almost like some maples. Maybe some magnolias. All kinds of cool stuff. Really neat. I like the long drip tips on some of these leaves. I'll show you. This would have been like a subtropical or even tropical environment at the time. Pretty neat.
There's Scott Sampson. He used to be here at the museum.
I think he's in San Francisco now, at the California Academy of Sciences. If any of you have ever seen or heard of the show Dinosaur Train, that is Dr. Scott from Dinosaur Train. And there, looking at the prep lab here. Thank you again to Lydia, who showed us around in here earlier. That was really cool. Check that out. Teratophonius, this Utah Tyrannosaur from the one. Yeah, really, really cool. I love that they put that front and center for everybody to see.
It's cute, yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
What goes on in there? Torture?
And yeah, that is the fossil hall here at the Museum of Natural Utah Museum of Natural History. Hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. It was super cool to be able to share that with you. And yeah, also super happy that this equipment is all decided today. I'm really glad I got this new cable. Yeah. Well, this is cool. Little reconstructions of these dinosaurs. Utah raptor, Utah ceratops. 26 new dinosaur species. 2000. That's probably doubled by now. Yeah.
Let's go over there.
Yeah.
Say goodbye.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, we're losing signal right in here.
Okay. Move through here. Okay, hopefully we're
here on the way in. Okay.
Hopefully we're getting better with the signal here. Are we back?
Looks like we're coming back.
Coming back here? Good.
There we are.
Okay. Well, nice. You can't see anything out there right now, but there's Salt Lake City.
So hazy.
But yeah. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your wonderful questions.
This has been a great stream, Danny. Another really good museum stream. These have been so much fun, and you guys make going to these museums that much more fun.
Yeah,
just being
seriously.
able to interact with you guys, feel like I've got all my friends with me.
Yeah,
it's a really good time, and we really appreciate you guys being here with us.
Yeah, I hope you will join us tomorrow for a stream from the Museum of Ancient Life in Lehi, Utah, just a few miles that way. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah,
it's gonna be a good one.
That is just absolutely chock full. There are, if you can believe it, like 5 times as many dinosaurs in that museum as this one. Not as many original fossils, but there's some really cool ones. And I hope you'll join us for that. Anyway, let me think about...
White smoke is on.
Yeah?
Turtles and chill is on.
Let me see... right here. Whoops.
Marine Mammal Rescue. This one's I've got.
Turtles and Chill. Rocket Sage is on. We are going to go raid Rocket Sage. That is going to be cool. This is a mature channel. I hope that's okay with everybody. Yeah, let's see. We'll go to our chat here. Rocket Sage is a geologist, and she's pretty cool. I think you're going to like her stuff a lot if you've never seen it before. But yeah, let's see. Oops. Let's get that started. Raid Rocket Sage. And there we go. Yeah, everybody, you're gonna like Sage a lot. She's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Show her. Let's put some dinosaur emotes in there, and tell her how cool the Utah Museum of Natural History was. Man, she's gonna be jealous.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for a wonderful stream. I hope to see you tomorrow, and check the schedule also on my page to figure out when we're going to be streaming next and what we're going to be doing. You are not going to want to miss some of these streams coming up. They are going to be really cool. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go see Rocket Sage. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you next time.
Not sure what it rated.
Let's see. Did it work?
I'm not entirely sure. Did it work?
Mm-hmm. It says rating Rocket Sage with 122 viewers. Leave. I think we're good.
It says it's working. It says it's counting down. Sorry, everybody, if we're being really weird right now.
It's trying to figure this out.
It says 20 more seconds. Claire says 20 more seconds.
20 more seconds? Join. I should just be able to tap it now and make it go, but
yeah,
it's it is not working the way it normally does. This is super buggy. Here we go.
There we go.
Yeah. All right, let me